Get ready for the next battle, ladies, gentlemen, Zaydams, and in between. My name is SPF Dark, and we're coming at you live here at IPL to bring you yet another edition of Lowing. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, though, I am joined by someone else here today.
Hello, everybody. It's your boy MR Slap back finally again. Commentating Lowing. It's been way too long, and what an energetic introduction on this beautiful Saturday. How are we doing today, Doc?
I'm doing quite alright. I'm very excited for this upcoming Lowing here, and of course it being Easter weekend, but it's just that's just a side note here today. The main event here is Lowing for once and for all. You know, we're here to see exactly what these two teams will be bringing here as we're getting ready already with a hot start.
Yes, and unfortunately that one team only has 2 players. It showed on the stream itself. There we go. There we go. Here are the real people. We got 4 of a kind versus Sticks and Stones. And you know what they say about Sticks and Stones? They may break bones, but I wonder if this team will be able to hurt 4 of a kind in this upcoming game and get the win.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, as a Velotra head myself, 4 of a kind, I have a little bit biased towards them, but I'm Sticks and Stones. I'm betting they had to put in some hurt at least as we're kicking it off here already with this first round score. Ooh, I am at a scrap out here. Zones on Mako Mart.
Yes, here we go. And you know what? 4 of a kind has a very, very nice looking team comp here. Of course, you've got that brush to go in, get behind. You got the Stamper just for that general coverage, getting the zip cast and those burst bombs up. And then, of course, you've got the Pièce d'Aralis. Sorry, my bad. I messed that up entirely. They have that pen as well to come in with that. But look at that already. You've already got both teams with that. So what a nice shot there from Foreign, just blasting it over, getting some fall-off damage. Very nice from them, and I do believe that means that we are going to be seeing 4 of a kind taking the lead here in a second.
Yeah, good hold here from 4 of a kind as Sticks and Stones are struggling to get anything going on their side. Currently spread across the entire map here. Sticks and Stones trying to contest the zone. At least 1 player down from 4 of a kind means that they're going to be able to flip it, and especially with 2 down scenario you. Sticks and Stones definitely want to try and go in here with the tactical or to go in as fast as they can to keep sure making that 4 of a kind does not regroup with all 4 of their players. 1 player down once again, staggering them. A very good job here as they're using all the sources available to keep them at bay. Especially being thrown left and right from both sides, and Sticks and Stones managed to take lead here, but 4 of the kind is able to neutralize the zone already.
I mean, this game is exactly like a pendulum. It's just going back and forth, to and fro. We're just seeing one team get in the lead. Instantaneously, the other team is able to come back and get back. I mean, we're already seeing it right now as we're seeing 1 down on the side of 4 of a kind. Sticks and Stones looking to get straight back into this, even though we are probably going to be seeing the lead get caught here. Look at that, though. Again, 1 person down, getting staggered on the side of 4 of a kind, and it looks like Sticks and so you see Ray coming in with that brush again. Such a powerful tool, going around, getting the slosher there with thanks to an assist. But it still looks like we're going to be seeing 4 of a kind taking the lead and just going with it in the rest of this game.
Yeah, Sticks and Stones are slowly losing their footing here. Only a few points remaining, 25 ticks remaining on the board for 4 of the kind, meaning that they're wanting to try and lock this out here now to make sure they can get this win with another player now from Sticks and Stones. 4 of the kind are looking for the lethal killing blow here. Killer will come out to scatter Sticks and Stones. 3 players down, and I don't think they have the manpower here to try and contest the zone. And with that back and forth game, instantly 4 of the kind is able to take control of the mid game there and just run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, they just had so much power in that mid-range, and it really, really seemed like Sticks and Stones were unable to get in and just put those 2 weapons that I mentioned earlier, that Ink Brush and that Stamper, would have done so nicely. But again, they just got held off. They just got sent straight back to the shops and were unable to get through and get in. And there we go, 4 of a kind already taking it up 1-0.
Yeah, up 1-0 and it play all best of 3, play all 3. This could be a little bit of a tricky thing here, you know? You really want to make sure you get every win you can and make sure you can do whatever it is you can to secure those wins here. So Sticks and Stones is off at 2, just a little bit of a disadvantage here, but you know, with how back and forth both of these 2 teams have been for the majority of that game, they're definitely not out of it just yet. No, and here moving on to Tower Control Hagglefish Market, I'm eager to see exactly if Sticks and Stones are going to want to try and change anything up specifically here, or if they think that they have what they got to take and just trying to maybe change up their gameplay here. and try and see if that's going to be the thing that they want to keep focus and leverage on against Four of a Kind.
I mean, I was just about to mention it here. Sticks and Stones definitely do have some expendable players, as they do have a roster of 6 comparative to Four of a Kind's roster of 5. And I do believe we did just see somebody get swooped in here. And you know what? Yeah, it is always exciting to see, especially in Splatoon. I always talk about it whenever I get the chance to, just how much a team and a game can just really, really change up thanks to just one or just, you know, maybe 2 weapon picks, just depending on the map and mode.
Yeah, I personally have always been the fan of a toolbox style team where you have a good decent amount of weapon picks on your lineup to be able to bring out to different kinds of modes and different kinds of teams to sort of answer just a lot of different scenarios there. You may not, compared to another team who probably runs the same weapon comp and playstyle as you do, you may not be at their specific like high execution level for that same team comp, but you do have that answer to fall back nonetheless, even regardless of the situation is. And if it's calls for this kind of weapon lineup and you have the experience with it, you know, it could still work out in the end. That's at least that's my whole personal philosophy with weapon choices, being able to swap with them, because there's also just nothing wrong with playing with the same 4 weapons over and over and over again and just honing that one specific playstyle either.
Yeah, no, because and especially because we are in low ink, we are looking at like the lower level of Splatoon when watching this tournament. A lot of people in that like lower to mid level really, really like to just stick on that one weapon. They really, really just like to stick playing what they're comfortable with and just staying with it for the rest of a tournament, for like an entire ranked series or anything like that.
Ooh.
I mean, hey, look, I do believe we are seeing like a slight little change up, or am I just tweaking?
There are a slight change. I think notably, I'm not sure if I even noticed this last game, if it was last game here, but I'm very much eyeing that 96 Deco from over here on Stone Slides. A weapon that you hardly ever see nowadays, but if people are actually feel comfortable with it, you know, it can absolutely do massive amounts of damage with its long range and high damage per shot here. And already both of these 2 teams are playing it out here in mid to try and get that crucial first pick here. Just trying to see exactly who's going to be the first one to lose here. Sticks and Stone is the first one to lose, but not without a 1-for-1 trade here from both sides. And with the hammer coming in mid, it could be their chance to try and turn things around, but still a neutral game here.
Yeah, and you know, as we were talking about earlier with like how Four of a Kind really, really got into this and was really able to take the lead, is that mid-range. You know, that 96 gal just really likes to take control and keep people out of their zone just a little bit more, and there we go. You talk about it, and right there we are seeing it purely in action. That 96 gal using that Kraken to get a kill, but there goes Starboy, able to just wrap around, showing why the 52, a lot of people do consider that to be the superior weapon, and here we have Starboy going in as well, pops the killer well, and we are just seeing Four of a Kind going on and on. The only person up right now is the 96 Dark.
Yeah, this game is slowly losing traction for Sticks and Stones. Four of a Kind keeping up this pressure with huge momentum and not letting them any breathing room here on the back line. The Zipcaster comes in and tries to keep them down for the count for as long as they can. Already past that first checkpoint, head for that second checkpoint. Another player down once again. Tactical down for Four of a Kind means that it can keep this momentum going on this side without too many repercussions here. But the hammer does come in to try and stall it out, and that tower hasn't broken through the checkpoint yet. Finally being able to break through the checkpoint thanks to the Tactical bringing in all their allies here, and with the trip strike here, this could be game here.
I mean, that was just some insane staggering on the tower there. Just knowing when and how to jump off, just tiptoe around it like you're playing hopscotch, going back and forth on it. And there we go. They break through the checkpoint. And there we go. We are going to see Four of a Kind take this 2-0. But as you said, this is play all 3, right?
Most definitely here with low ink and how things are ran here. We play all 3 games here to determine the seeding. We are in group stages here, so even though technically Sticks and Stones has lost that set, we're still going to be seeing this 3rd game here to try and figure out how exactly the seeding can go. If Sticks and Stones can get to this next game, this game 3, it could set them up a little bit decently specifically for tiebreakers if it gets to that scenario. Or if Four of a Kind wins this game 3 here, they're looking very well heading into the bracket stage here.
No, exactly as you were saying it, mate. That one single game here could make all the difference later on in the tournament. But now, even though you're down 2-0, as you said, Sticks and Stones really have just got to keep their head up, nose to the grindstone, and still really shoot to get this win. And you know what? I'm going to Rainmaker Scorch Gorge now. we definitely could see something a whole lot different than tower control and splat zones that we've seen before.
Yeah, Rainmaker Scorch Gorge is an interesting map mode. The 2 points of contention that I like to point out here for this map specifically is the ramps hitting into that first checkpoint or the first dunk, depending on how you want to call it here. Aerial control of those 2 specific ramps really dictate a lot of your tempo, and you can have a very good offense, and for the majority of this game, you can have a very good time just beating out your opponent. But if your opponent has a very solid hold of that ramp, you're not getting through that. And yes, there is a second left-hand route over the grates, but no one really holds over that. And usually, holding onto that ramp means you have someone on that high pedestal sniper area, meaning that they also have silent on anyone coming over to the grates, and they're able to the team's able to easily rotate over to that side. So it's still a very tricky thing to try and get those first checkpoints. So it's very crucial here for either team to try and hold on for those as best as they can.
Yeah, exactly as you say. And now here we are. We are going to be going into that game 3, 4 of a kind, up 2-0 against Sticks and Stones, who are looking at getting that first W. And yeah, I hear the ooh right there as we see that Mince Decapitator coming out.
Not just the Decapitator coming out, but we see the Ink and we see the Dually Sculptures. They completely overhauled their team comp here from Sticks and Stones, and it's a question as to how exactly is this team comp going to work here. I'm trying to see exactly what the moving pieces are as of right now here, but both teams are still at a bit of a stalemate here, and even though Sticks and Stones get the first pick, it's a 1-for-1 trade from both sides. Both players are down 2 teams, but 4 of a kind coming in to try and clean up the Rainier of Sticks and Stones, forcing a jump up means that they win out this mid here, and they're going to try and rush this Rainmaker as fast as they can. Tomoe's on the left-hand side!
I mean, hey, as you said, when you've got nobody looking at those grates, when nobody is taking care, it's the perfect little cheeky way to just get around. And there we go, we're just seeing the Fudge probably saying something exactly like that, just a little bit more vulgar as they get killed in the air. And look at that, we're just seeing an absolute snowball of a victory. Foreign running in, there we go. Reminiscent of Splatoon 1 and 2, how quickly that Rainmaker game was, but blimey, was that quick.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't much to say about that match. Sticks and Stones unfortunately couldn't keep up with the pressure, the immense pressure Team Fighting Power 4 of a Kind had in mid there. And once they went out, 4 of a Kind knew exactly how to play the remainder of that game, how to stagger Sticks and Stones, when to properly strike and when to punish and play back just a little bit. And they were just able to run it straight down 100-0 without dropping the Rainmaker. That, I gotta say it, that was pretty impressive.
That was very impressive. You know, 4 of a kind getting a 3 of a kind as we move on into the next round. A lovely 3-0 from them. They just played that so cleanly.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And man, the only sad thing about that last game we just saw there was the fact that I wanted to see that Comp Sticks and Stones brought out a little bit more so I could see exactly what the vision was, what exactly they were planning to do. Because you don't see Decapitator, Inkling, and Dually Sculptures on the same team at all these days. Dually Sculptures is such a underused weapon, honestly put in the same sort of quote-unquote tier list as something like an H3 or an L3. You hardly see those weapons at all, and see it brought out. It gets me excited to see exactly why these teams brought it out, but to see the game end so quickly, it disappointed me just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really unfortunate start for them because you saw both of their slaying weapons just went down immediately. Both of the swords just completely traded. We saw another trade, and the only person that was left up was the pencil and the Dualies. I don't know why I was just trying to think of their names so hard there. I could have just said Dualies that whole time. And then, like, the Dualies had to jump out, and there you just gave 4 of a kind that entire map control. You gave them the Rainmaker, and because nobody was looking up at those grates, they just took a nice little stroll down to that checkpoint, and by then the game just snowballed completely down that hill.
Most definitely, but man, oh man, that first game there, 4 of a Kind sitting pretty with their first game out of the way, 3-0 against Sticks and Stones. They're going to be looking really good heading to the remainder of this series here, but I do believe we have just a little bit of a wait as the remainder teams. That first game going out extremely fast, I believe we have a bit of a wait for the next game, so why don't we just go ahead and take a quick break, get some water, refresh ourselves a little bit while we head out and just wait for this next catch coming in here in just a moment.
Well, hello everybody and welcome back to a lovely little low ink day 1. We are coming up with Swiss round 2 once again. To remind you, my name is MR Slap. I am here with the lovely SPF Dark. What do you think going into this game of Address the Gators versus Washed?
Well, to put it out there, Address the Gators. I gotta give it to you guys with your team picture for you guys. I absolutely love the tiny gator there. But besides that, I really have no idea what to expect here. I'm very, 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 very bad with players and teams and who's who and what's happening with the community here. But it's literally gonna be just a wild match for me to try and figure out what's going to happen here. What I do know is we'll be kicking things off with Clan Sparkle and Dime, a very, very tried and true map mode. I very much enjoy playing it and watching it and casting it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to cast it, happy to watch it. I'm not the biggest fan of playing it myself, but I'm not the greatest Splatoon player in the world. That's why I'm sitting here in the caster's booth and they're out there actually playing the video game. But, I mean, to be honest, right? Like you said, okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's the
profile picture. That's the profile picture that we were talking about. How'd you have that many, like, what is that? Like little treats stacked on top of his head?
Those are Cheerios. You gotta love the Cheerios.
They look like Cheerios, but I thought they were like just like little.
At least I'm pretty sure they're Cheerios.
What would a gator treat be? What do you give gators?
I don't know, like a hunk of cheese, a hunk of meat. That's my best.
You give a gator that side a hunk of meat, a chunk of meat. Oh my! Okay, no. If you're on the side of Wash, we're just looking for kills this game. Like, this is TDM. Like, look at that. You've got the Carbon, you've got the Wiper, you've got the Blaster with Splashdown. You're just going to be looking completely just for kill after kill after kill. And on the complete opposite side, why am I seeing Explode Dreadry? Why are we 3 down? What happened?
You know, the philosophy of, they can't play the objective if they're not alive really works well if you actually get the first 2 picks here, but it's unfortunate that Wash got 3 down almost immediately, and now the Gators are here looking to try and turn this advantage and keep it going on to their favor. Haven't actually pushed up past mid though, which is very surprising considering the scenario here, and Wash got a 1-for-1 trade there on the left-hand side. Both teams are just desperately trying to play out here and then to get anything going.
I mean, hey, look, we just saw Reef and Splashdown come out. We've also just seen Soda get hot. Look at that. As I talk about Splashdown, there we go, but Riolu. Very, very nice from them to be able to turn that around and get the trade. But, we are looking at 3 down on the side of Address the Gators. But the one person that's still up, Splat Kirby, with that V-shot, with that Zuka so strong just going in. We're seeing Sam's trying to go in now and get a little some for their team as well. Splat Kirby retreating, getting those clams. And even though that was such an amazing push just to be able to stay alive, we're still not seeing anything. 3 down. It's absolute pandemonium on my screen right now. Everybody's going down, Dark.
Yeah, 3 down from the Gators, but the Wash barely are able to get that power clam formed here. And I don't think they're going to be able to get any extra clams on there. They are on the board here, but I don't think they can do much to extend the lead by any major means. They do manage to get at least 1 tiny clam into the power clam basket, but it is now closed up once again, and Wash should be the ones starting back up here a little bit. The Gators starting gearing up for their own push. Caterpillar online, Leaside are coming on the deep side. A 2-for-2 trade from both sides. Splashdown coming in to create some space. Another trade here. There's only 1 player remaining on the field from both sides, and somehow Wash still has majority control of mid here.
I mean, like, I said that we're just going to be seeing, like, kill after kill after kill, splat after splat after splat, but I didn't expect it to be on both sides.
This is a very fast-paced game we're seeing here. Just constant fighting, constant specials being used here. And honestly, if you're Washed here at the rate of this game's going, this is actually kind of a good thing here. You're just preventing Gators from getting anything built up off the ground here, preventing them from getting any breathing to get a push going here. But as I say that, they could go 2 down here. The Gators now trying to get their own push going. With Caterpillar online, they can go a bit more on the offensive here and have a lot of clams on their side. They got to be very careful here. Wash does if they don't want to end up getting washed away from this incoming push here. Explosion going in, trying to create as much space as they can. 2 down from their side. They'll make that 3 down. Wash stays their ground and repels the push.
And the only person up there is Scrub. We see them get pushed by that Deco Carbon, and that Wyber goes down to the Reef Slider though, but here we do see that Wyber activate the hammer, going in, getting a power climb of their own build, just chucking that hammer, nobody home though. But look at that, we're seeing 2 down in mid on the side, 3 down now, a little bit delayed, but look at that, addressed the Gators as well, now 2 down on their side, 3 down on their side. And genuinely, this is so fast-paced. Like, what is actually going on, Dark?
I don't think, at this point, I don't think any of these teams have a proper strategy other than just hold forward and get this flat and respawn if they get splat on their own side. We're now at a minute and a half remaining of this game, and there's only 1 clam and 1 power clam that's been scored across this entire 4 minutes at this point. And both these two teams are still holding it out in mid. Wash now getting ready for their own push yet again as they have a majority of control of the clams here. But we see a splash out of halts their push here as Wimpot here stands their ground. And now 3 down once again. Wash just keeps going on the offensive.
Everybody was jumping to Wimpod, but they did not know that they were going to be meted by a gigantic mallet crushing down onto them. Look at that, we see the splashdown come down as well at the basket. We're just trying to see a few more clams go in the basket, but no, but what a push to 41 after seeing literally nothing else happen for the entire 5 minutes of this game. Address the Gators are looking in a wonderful position right now, Dark.
Yeah, and this is when things can really start turning on their side. A wipeout is not good by any means necessary, especially if you're under a minute remaining. You can definitely swing the tides of this battle here. Both these two teams are doing desperately to try and get the power clam basket in. A breakaway does open up that clam basket here, but there's not enough players from the teams to try and counteract this here. But no, Tactical coming in to try and maybe can't pick up a single clam here, but there's not a clam inside. We will be going to overtime as they have the power clam on their side. Wash does, but I think they're just going to be able to just wash them out as Address the Gators unfortunately don't have the manpower to contest this as we see this game get called.
I cannot wait to see 2 more games of this, you know. I genuinely cannot. That was beautiful to watch. That was amazing. See, that's my kind of Splatoon, you know. Just hold forward, get as many kills as you want. I'm just stat padding, you know. Hype moments and aura, nothing else happening in this game right now.
I mean, generally, that very well could have been the game plan from the get-go, you know, just make sure that you are doing nothing but holding forward on your control stick, keeping them just out of tempo, out of the loop, and just confuse them with how aggressive you're ongoing and just oppress them with overwhelming aggressiveness here. It really worked out in the end here for Wash as they were able just to take that game pretty well at the very end there.
I mean, yeah, no, that was honestly really, really nice from them just to be able to actually get that holdout at the end. You know what? We didn't see a single clam get in the basket for the opposing side. So you know what? That was actually really, really well played by Address the Gators, as much as we are just going on and talking about hold forward and just getting kills and stuff. And you know what? If we thought that Clam Blitz, Barnacle, and Dime was going to be an absolute bloodbath, look at Splat Zone's Mahi coming up right now. We saw the Reef Sliders, we saw the Splashdowns, like, oh my, we're going to be seeing so many shenanigans happen on this stage and map mode.
Oh yeah, most definitely, with Mahi being the map we all know it is. Before the 60-point mark here, it is a very small map, and honestly, you're gonna be playing for that first 40 points to get the water level 2 drop here. So whoever can get that first good solid hold here on the opening gambit here, as we kick this second game off, it's gonna be the ones who most likely will be able to ride that 40 points out to the water level drops, and then the map really opens up. But even then, it's still a very tightly condensed map here.
I mean, yeah, look at that. Okay, we are seeing a lot of weapons change, and by a lot, I mean 2. We are seeing that charcoal decapitator come out, the one with jet and wall, and we are also seeing a sloshing machine come out, probably for that booyah bomb, and just be able to contest a little bit with the 2 sloshes on the side. But look at that, we're already seeing, what is that? 4 people down, looking at the screen, maybe 5, maybe 6 now. Neither team has already gotten an inch on the zone. That is what I wanted to see with this set.
One of these people just going
But
out.
splashdown, bang! Oh, I thought I was going to turn it back to neutral.
It could have, honestly, it could have been the key to turn it back to mid and make sure that they can at least contest the control a little bit to find themselves more time. But no, unfortunately, Wash are going to be the ones at bay here as the Gators are going to try their best to keep things going on their side here. Points are getting close to that 50-point point here, but it doesn't seem like it will go. The water level will go down just yet. Just the Gators now trying to flip the zone here as best they can, but unfortunately, Wash loses out another player. It's going to be a hold for mid. Both teams are just desperately trying to play it out, but the wipeout here means that Wash is able to hold the mid once again and take it to those penalty points.
Going through those penalty points now. Washed are looking so nice in this game comparative to the last one. They've just really been able to take this game by the horns and not really let it go for a second. Look at that. Those penalty points are finished. We are going to see 2 down on the board. There we go. As you said, you want to be the first to get those 40 points down so the water level can start dropping on your side. Well, just on the side of you when you're in control of it. So much more space to start getting your specials and just holding on to the stage. And we're seeing that right now, as I believe we just saw so many specials try and go off. At least maybe a reef slider tried going off. A hammer just collides with that splashdown. We're seeing JJ still up, just trying to ink that zone, but the blaster is not going to be too well at painting. But here we are. JJ just trying to pressure on top of that ledge there. Tries to dance around that. Oh, what a direct coming out from them, Dark.
Good direct here. Can they convert it to a little bit more? They're going to try and search for any additional picks here. They unfortunately do get picked out here. Blaster does not unfortunately start gaming, as Wash is now trying to hold their best over here, do their best to keep the Gators at bay. They're away with their penalty points. They're starting to eat away at their real points, getting closer now, bringing it down to 21 point and their point differential here. But Wash takes control yet again. And just the Gators are struggling to keep their hold here in mid, as they're just keeping getting picked off one by one. And with 2 players down, they still managed to take control of the zone once again, giving them a few additional penalty points to Wash before they unfortunately lose the zone yet again.
We are excited to see this jet come out. Are we going to be seeing anything from it? There we go. We do see that 1 pick. Are we going to be seeing 2 trying to contest that wiper there? 3 down now on the side of Wash. And there we go. We are back in control for the side of Address the Gators. And look at that. This game is so insanely close. Just like the one beforehand. It's going straight down to the wire.
Yeah, most definitely. Both these teams are still at a relative neck-to-neck pacing here. Wash attempted to try and take the zone once again, but the Gators held strong here, and now their penalty points are good as gone. They're just slowly closing in that lead swap. We will see a lead swap here, as the Gators are just going to buy their time, make sure they can try and extend their lead as best they can, as the Wash are not going to try to look and re-engage here. Hammer is online, but 3 down! That is catastrophic here for Wash, as they are now getting closer to the 0 point mark, 20 points remaining. I think they're going to throw everything they can to try and stay alive in this game a little bit longer.
I mean, Wash right now being forced to address the Gators. As we see, there we go. We go down a single digit. We go down 5, 3, 2, 1. Boom. There we go. It is a knockout in the latter stages of this game. Address the Gators, able to get 2-0 up on Washed in this play all 3 Swiss set.
Ooh, our Address the Gators are looking really good here, but of course, as mentioned in our last game set here, this isn't necessarily the end for Wash. They still have one more chance to at least get a single point off Address the Gators for it to favor them in seedings, and to try and mess a little bit with Address the Gators and their own seeding for the later on runs here. So it's not out yet. We still have one more game to see here, but as far as the sets go, the Address the Gators did win this one out.
Yeah, and you know what? I believe they fully can do it, you know. Genuinely, Washed have looked so good in this set so far. Like, it just really gets to the point where Address the Gators get that little foothold up on them. They get that little foothold up. They start really getting in gear, and Address the Gators just run away with it. Both times. We've seen it on Clan Blitz, Barnacle and Dime. We've seen it on Splatoon's Mahi Mahi. Now it's up to just Tower Control, Inkblot, Art Academy. And you know what? Like I just said, I do feel like Washed might be able to get back into this.
Oh, most definitely, Wash. It's hard to say exactly what it is that Address the Gators is doing really well against Wash here. I'm not necessarily a high-end analyst on my side here, but it's clearly there is something that Address the Gators is doing that Wash are missing, that I'm also missing, that they can't seem to address here. So I'm hoping that after those first 2 games, they have caught it on their end really, so they can try and make the proper adjustments. Maybe it's the playstyle call. Maybe they gotta match the hyper aggressive that Address the Gators have been bringing this entire time, or maybe they gotta play a lot more defensively, be that stalwart in the line, and make sure that Wash just can't, or Address the Gators just can't break through the line Wash has put up.
You know, one thing I have picked up on though is that we are seeing a coolerless comp RAM.
Yeah,
but I do believe it is on the side of Address the Gators, isn't it? they've been running coolerless this whole time, haven't they?
Yeah, I know Wash definitely has a cooler because I've definitely seen, at least in the first game, I saw a cooler or two. But,
and in this day and age, that's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people will still use a lot of tactical around these days, so it's always a nifty treat to see it here. But I am also already eyeing the big blaster here over the side of Address the Gators.
Well,
no.
I mean, hey, look. I come from the UK. We have a player in there called Acing. I am very, very well attuned with the Lunar Blaster as a weapon. But as we see, there we go. The job of the Lunar Blaster is to go in and die. And that has already happened right here in this set. And there we go. We are seeing Address the Gators get that first leg up in this set.
Oh, yeah, Address the Gators definitely looking to try and end this game here now as fast as they can. Wash struggling to keep up with it, a little bit of this tempo, but 3 down from the Gators means that Wash is able to hold their ground strongly here as they do go down at 1-for-1 trade on both sides. It's going to be a hard thing to try and retake mid here, but we see Kraken coming out from just the Gators and try and hold on to their line as best they can, forcing Wash back a little bit, scattering them about as they are trying to make sure by their entire team time to regroup here in mid. And another 1-for-1 trade means it's a bit of a stalemate here. Both these teams are just getting picks left and right.
I mean, yeah, the same thing is just happening again. We're just seeing both teams just go in. We're seeing this incredibly, again, not so as before, but we are still seeing Washed with that really, really aggressive style of comp, especially with that Lunar Blaster added to it now. And even with the Dread Ringer, even with the Exploit, we're still seeing them play quite aggressively. They're not really playing too much for spacing. We've just been seeing like games go off and off and off and off by them and Address the Gators. Again, electing to swap out the Splashdown Blaster, this time for that Range Blaster. And you know what? It's still working. It is still heavily working. Look at that. They're already getting to that second checkpoint. We're seeing again, we're going to be seeing that Kraken go up, take the tower again, and we are probably going to get straight back to that second checkpoint. Look at that. What a lovely little pick there, Dark.
Yeah, most definitely. At this second checkpoint, these things were starting to get very dangerous for Wash. This is when a snowball turns into a bit of an avalanche scenario, and things really starting to spiral out of control here, especially with just the Gators to take control of your bats. That's very lethal there, and they can absolutely run away with this game. But no, Wash does manage to hold strong here and make sure that it doesn't get to that point there. The second checkpoint is still practically untouched at this point, as Wash now having control of the tower. They're looking to try and bring it back to mid here, especially since they got another crucial pick here against the Gators. They're going to be trying to convert that as best they can here, but Wash doesn't want to go 2 down.
Yeah, they do go 2 down. And just look at this. Oh, look at that Carbon just go in, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to Wimpod. Able to get a double kill with that Exploit. Able to get another one. Do we see another? Probably not, because JJ is all the way back at their bats. But that is giving so much time for the side of Wash to be able to jump back in and get back in their game. We are just seeing it completely reset to neutral, if not a little bit in the favor of Washed. As there we go, Washed is able to take the tower, not go too far with it. We're looking at Glow Pick from behind here with that Slosher. Tries going in, gets splashed down. How did that even connect? I don't know. And here's JJ coming in with that Kraken as well now. Again, we are still just completely at this neutral spot.
Yeah, but the longer we stay at this neutral spot here, it means that this game is still heavily in favor for Address the Gators. They're running the clock out for Wash, and if they can't get anything going, substantial going on their side, they're going to lose out this game 3 here. But a beautiful wipeout paired with a Trizuka means that Address the Gators are going to keep this going, and they're looking to try to shove this as far forward as they can. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. This game is looking pretty good here for Address the Gators, but Wash still has another opportunity to repel this push and get things back under control here, but not without 2 down on their own side.
What a collateral shot with that Zuka. My jaw is still agape from it. But like this, we're seeing Wimpod just try and sneak around with that Exploit, just firing onto the tower. Oh, gets picked off by that Kraken though. Here we are. I mean, the Zuka there, and then we did see the Kraken go in. Riolu now really the only one off the side of Wash. And so that Address the Gators are going to be able to probably most likely get to that final check. But we are seeing some last resistance come up from Washed here.
Yeah, this is when things get very critical, depending if you're the defending team here. That tower getting so closer to that final checkpoint there could be the game if you don't take control here. But with 3 down from address the Gators. Wash is able to retain control once again, and with that's a delayed wipeout on their side. They're looking to run up as fast as they can to make sure they have a clear path through this tower, as there's only 20 seconds remaining. We most likely will be going to overtime if Wash can maintain control of this tower here. Tactical on their side means that they keep following aggressively. We have so many reach here on this side, but the carbon roller does take an important full pick here, and using the tries here to get additional picks here. This could be game, set, and match here if they Wash doesn't move and act quickly enough. But with 2 down once again, they're going to take this game, address the Gators with a clean 3-0.
I mean, did you see that shot with the Zuka before that game ended? He just weaved perfectly through the stacks in the tower and just managed to get a pick. That was beautiful. That was poetry in motion. And you know what, when you've got a carbon coming straight at you, it doesn't really matter how quick you are at moving to the tower. It's can you get past that just explosive weapon, and they just really, really couldn't. And you know what, address the Gators. What an amazing set from them. Just be able to keep up, not only keep up with that speed, but set the pace in this set when it came to kills and just overall playtime.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just the Gators were doing extraordinarily well in this game. That Inkzuka really putting in a lot of the work here. I mean, to be fair, you're running 2 Inkzuka weapons on your side, so it definitely Inkzuka is definitely a feel impactful here if you're going against 2 different weapons with them there. But man, oh man, just the Gators really managed their hyper aggressive comp really well against Wash, who, you know, looking at as an aggressive frontliner, seeing something like Explosher and a little bit more mid to longer range weapons, it can be very scary, but they managed it very well, and I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, no, and you know what? Congrats to address the Gators for, again, a beautiful set played. But Washed, we still could see a lot come out from. I do definitely believe in their potential going forward.
Most definitely. We are still in group stages, so this set might have been a bit of a one-sided match here, but it isn't out for either team yet. For all we know, we could see an upset as against the Gators. Unfortunately, maybe lose their future matches and don't get top or don't make it into bracket, while Wash somehow managed to make it a bracket. Who knows? There's still a lot of more games to see here, but we are going to be heading to a bit of a quick break here as we get our next match getting ready here. So don't go anywhere just yet. Get the bathroom breaks, use the restroom, you get some water, you get some snacks. We'll be right back after this break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, in between. My name is SPF Dark. I'm here with Mr. Slap, and we're here with our next game, Star Guardians of Chaos versus Pixels per Ink. What is on your mind, Betty?
What's on my mind? That is a long name. Star Guardians of Chaos. You know what? That could be the name of like some indie rock band, and I would not look at it like in a different way. That is a crazy name. I'm in love with that. And Pixels Purring, I really, really like that name as well. We've got a battle of great names coming up.
Yeah, I say this time and time again whenever I'm on the stand here, not just here, but anywhere else really. But the one thing I do love about the competitive scene here is just a lot of the names, the team names we get, and Star Guardians of Chaos, Pixels Per Ink. I feel like those are like mighty fine team names, so I give credit for that. But we're not here for the team name. We're not here for the team name, folks. We're here for the game itself and to watch the entertaining games that you're going to see here. And first things off, we're kicking things off with Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track.
Yes, we are. So, no, I love this stage. I love this map mode. Genuinely, it's so fun. Like, you get that first check, and then you could just hold the Rainmaker there and win, and it's awesome. You just get to have some fun.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's one way of viewing this map mode. So me personally, I really like this map mode. Because you wouldn't know this, and most people wouldn't know this about me specifically, anyways. But I am a big a blaster enjoyer. I love S Blast, I love Range Blaster. Those two are my babies, and I'll love them to the end of the man. But the funny thing about this map mode specifically is that it really caters to blasters with all the corners, the ledges, and the crannies you can hide in and just poke around and be annoying.
What?
It is very, very good here. But no, the umbrella, that is a very. I would never have guessed the umbrella.
Oh, me personally, I'm about to have a lot of fun. I cannot wait for this. We have the Brello, and like we've also got that, as I said, the Wellstring coming up as well. Are you not going to get popped with Wellstring? You better. There we go. We do get that pop, and look at that. The Brello already just trying to get that little, and they're always able to help get the trade onto that brush there. But look at that, 3 people down already, and there we go. That first checkpoint. Star Guardians of Chaos starting off hotter than ever. There we go, able to get that pop once more, but watch out, we do have the Slosher coming in from behind, throws that bomb down, just tries putting a stop to that Rainmaker before they can go anywhere, and there we go, and 2 people down. Even though with the strikes coming out, we are going to be seeing, I believe, Star Guardians of Chaos re-picking up that Rainmaker just in a second, dog.
Good opening get from Star Guardians, and they're able to push that Rainmaker all the way to the first checkpoint, get it down, and get a few extra points on top of it, meaning that Pixels Per Ink does manage to get that first checkpoint on their side. It will still remain on Star Guardians of Chaos' favor, as they gotta pick it up, re-pick it up again, and take it a little bit further if they want to contest that lead here. But no, one player now from Star Guardians, being that Pixels Per Ink, could be able to pick up this Rainmaker and look to try and get that first dunk on their side, especially with the Inkling, especially with the Counter Tentacle. They're able to clear that area without too many issues here. Now they're looking for the re-pop here to potentially try and contest the lead lead here, but there's a bit of a chaos here across the map as Star Guardians are just trying to hold their ground as best they can. Wavebreaker comes out off along with the root side of that, finds no one.
And look at that, we have taken the lead if you're on the side of Pixel Per Ink. And look at that, we are just seeing those strikes come in again, but look at that, Zolo just waiting, and there we go. We do get that pop, and we have thrown him away a little bit, but oh no, we are still going down if we are on the side of the Star Guardians of Chaos, even with that Rainmaker in hand, even with that, like all the shots coming off, even with that killer well, we still are on the back foot a little bit as we do have to charge into mid, and we are still going down. We've even got one shot coming round with that Wiper now able to get 1. Do we see 2? We are seeing that Slosher there just getting absolutely picked off in a corner there. We do see, no, I was about to say we see the Stamper, but it goes down a little bit too early.
Yeah, a bit of a struggle here for Pixels Per Ink because they're trying to throw everything they can. They have and they can to try and get the Rainmaker out of their hands here. But Star Guardians of Chaos are really playing up their team play here, playing extraordinarily well around the Rainmaker, clearing up the path and making sure that no one assists them here. But a breakaway there, unfortunately, goes wrong as they're 3 points away from contesting the lead. Star Guardians down, 2 players down, and that's a delayed wipeout on their side practically anyways at this point, as now Pixels Per Ink are going to try and make sure that they can't get their hands on the Rainmaker at all costs here.
Yeah, we just got a little bit too greedy, a little bit too big for our boots, trying to get a little bit too much there. 37 and 34 points remaining. You cannot really get too much closer than that, can you?
most definitely. 3-point differential. That is virtually nothing in the Rainmaker. It could go either way. And 1 minute, 55 seconds remaining. There's not a lot of time to try and play around for that lead swap here. So you're really going to make sure that whenever you do strike, you strike hard. One player goes down for Star Guardians, but they have the Rainmaker in control as they get 2 down from their side. Purple are struggling to maintain control here in mid-air. As Star Guardians are going to ignore this slosher, and they're going to make a breakaway here, and they're going to be able to just come in and unfortunately miss what could have been a very good dunk there to end the game there. But now they're only sitting at 2 points remaining on their side. That's pretty much game set and done there. But Pixel Inc., they're not over yet. 1 minute, 40 seconds remaining. They have a lot of ground to cover if they want to contest that lead.
I mean, look at the Wiper coming in there, just saying, hey, no ground to cover. No, nuh-uh. Nothing's happening. You know, we wanted to get the knockout then. You stopped us. I'm just going to come around, just going to go past, take a leisurely stroll past anything that happens. And there we go. We're just going to get the knockout.
A Rainmaker classic here. Pixel Inc. just went up ahead to make sure that the front line isn't going to be contested from Star Guardians, as we see a flank from behind manage to come around, pick up the Rainmaker, and dunk it without any contention there. That has gotta stink for Pixel Inc.
But I'm still just at a loss for words. Like, that was one of the endings to a game of all time. But here we are, Star Guardians of Chaos coming up 1-0 against Pixel Inc. Going into our game 2 now, which is going to be Crab Lake Capital Clam Blitz.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't see this map mode a lot. I've only seen it like a few times, and it's very rarely and very far in between here. It's a very strange map mode specifically because the basket is... I don't know how to explain it. On one hand, I want to say that's very easy to defend, but on the other hand, I want to say it's very easy to attack, but I think it's a bit more a defender-sided here, so I think whoever's on the defending team has a little bit of extra wiggle room to try and make sure to defend, especially since you got to go up the ramp in order to contest or even get the power clamp close to the clamp basket. So it's a bit of a tricky one here, but I'm still eager to see exactly how these teams want to play it out.
Me too, and we are not going to have too much long of a wait to get into the next round. Hopefully, unless we are going to be seeing some naughty little weapon picks coming up. I mean, we did just see a Umbrella and a Wellstring come out. That Wellstring may have just been a pick, okay, we just need to pop that bubble. We just need to have a little bit more, just a little bit more explosivity coming into that Humpback Rainmaker game. And we are probably going to be seeing something a little bit different on Clam Blitz Crab Lake Capital. But you know what? Who knows what we're going to be seeing? We just have to wait and see for everyone to ready up and get into the game. And I do believe that will be in just one moment.
Oh, most definitely. We're at the kickoff here. Exactly what's changed, what's stayed. Will they try to run it back with some of these weapons here? It's a bit of up in the air as we do see the grand reveal of what these two teams will be bringing. S-Blast, my beloved. But besides the S-Blast, we see the recycled Umbrella. I don't believe we've seen this weapon played at all.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen this weapon get played at all, just in general, ever in my entire history of playing Splatoon 3. And look at that, we're already seeing them go in, throw that expendable. Okay, no, that shield doesn't work. What? Hello? I'd get my money back. I'd get my money back. No, there's no way. What's the shield down? I thought the shield was up. What?
Oh, it's this funny thing this game.
Wait, whoa. We've already got points? What's going on?
Yeah.
What?
In the midst of all the chaos of the Umbrella, somehow just showing that it just blatantly does not work sometimes. Star Guardians of Chaos were able to use that advantage and it just go and run in and take the first power clamp to the basket and immediately get some points on the board here. But now it seems that Pixel Inc. are going to want to try and do the same thing here as they go on the deep side with the reef side to make sure they get space. Really up off is popped to try to buy themselves some extra time, but no, it is popped immediately and the power clamp is dropped in here with a jump in. I don't think there's going to be any much that can be done here. The recycled Umbrella coming in, unfortunately goes down, 3 down. This game's going to go back to a neutral state once again.
I mean, that was just so unfortunate. You saw the reef slider going, but he didn't have ball ready. And by that point, the ball was ready. The ball was going around the completely other way than where you were pushing with the Reef Slider. There was just not really too much communication, I believe, when that Reef Slider was popped. And there we go, the push, as we have just seen, has completely fallen apart. One show coming in now. We do miss the bucket, but there we go. We are able to get the ball in. And we do have another power clam up on the side of Star Guardians of Chaos, and we probably are just going to be having a leisurely walk while firing my gun into the basket. Oh. Literally tiptoeing to the basket, but we managed to get it in.
I mean, it's working out for them, though. Star Guardians is already down 32 points remaining on their side. Pixel per Ink are struggling to maintain control of this game here. And it's only been 2 minutes of this game. S-Blast trying to find a pick, anything against anyone here. They do have some Booyah Bomb at the ready to try and pull whatever they need be. But no, unfortunately, they go down to the Ink Rush here. And they're just running in circles to avoid a primary fire from the bomb, from the... whichever weapon it was. I'm at a scrabble right now from how crazy this game has been so far.
We have just seen like so much randomness happen in this game. Oh, nice little parkour to get up there, but there we go. The stamp does go down. The crab as well. Now getting one, getting two. Do we see even more as the fleeting moment if the crab goes away? Ooh. No, we just get gunned down by a Pentacle. We see that brush making a little bit of trouble. Here we see Lancho go down. There we go, able to dunk a ball. And we do have those penalty points go down a bit. But you know what? That wasn't really the best push, all things considered. All it's really doing is giving Pixel per Ink another ball and getting your penalty points down a tiny bit, I guess. And look at that. Speaking of Pixel per Ink, they are able to get the wipeout. Do we see it done? Yes, we do see it done. We see a Booyah Bomb as well. We see the soda come out. We see the splash down. We're seeing everything get pumped in the hope that this is going to be the push that changes the game. But we've already got two down. We see the Reef Slider come in, but we have no balls whatsoever on the board. They're yelling. They're saying, this way, please come jump, dunk the other power climb in, but there was nobody to dunk it.
Yeah, a huge cash-in from Pixel per Ink makes this game a bit more closer than it probably could have been here as Star Guardians of Chaos are now trying to recover some of their losses here, recover some of their losses here, and trying to make things right. But it's still a 1 minute game here. There's only about a 21 point difference between these two teams that can easily be swung by a solid push here from either side. And as we head into the final minute of this game, it's going to be a very just tense scenario to see who's going to be the one who breaks first under the pressure.
Look at that. We are about to get into 1 minute. We see the Booyah Bomb get bought. We see the Splashdown get bought, just trying their best to stop the inevitable push coming out from Star Guardians Chaos. They're able to dunk. They're able to get those penalty points and a single point on the board because those penalty points were only 19. And look at that one show just still in there with that stamp again. Gets one but goes down. And look at that. We have two, maybe even three balls thanks to the pity clamp online. We're also seeing that Brella over there with 7. We are seeing so much right now. There could be a massive push. We break the barrier, but no! 3 people are down. That massive push that could have done so well with Pixel Plane crumbling as it mattered.
Yeah, 20 seconds remaining. We most likely will be going in overtime here as they still have the penalty clamp in reserve here from Pixel per Ink. But that was a devastating stop from Star Guardians to Chaos. And with the position they in, they can just choose to stall out the game for the remainder of this time, especially with 2 players down from Pixel per Ink. We will be seeing overtime get called here, but there's only be 30 seconds for them to try and make anything happen. They do have Tactical online for this overtime scenario here, but it's going to be very hard to make proper use of it as Star Guardians to Chaos are already in the front line. Already going in on the defense to keep the distraction. 15 seconds remaining in overtime. 1 player down from Star Guardians of Chaos. This could be a good swing from their side, but no, they lose out the power clamp as it gets shot by the hammer. And with that being done, they take this game too.
Did you see the wiper at the end of that game then? They thought they were on the other team. What the hell? Pixel Powering had 5 players for that moment. That was crazy. They just whiffed everything. I don't know, I didn't even think they were going for anyone. I think they were just around the back just trying to cause a little bit of chaos, stop everything from happening. They were just running around the back.
I think that scenario is definitely exactly what you kind of want to do there. The overtime just got called. Your team is trying to play it slow and steady here to make sure that there isn't any mistakes being made there. And you just send one player to go all the way forward to where they probably least expect them, and just to sort of just keep them, just scramble them a little bit, scare them a little bit. And especially with the power clap holder there, you send it against that player, it's gonna be a bit of a hit miss as you're doing react probably the same way as you just were there. I'm wondering like why the heck this Viper's all the way on top of me when overtime's called and you should be playing with your team. That was a very
And there we go. With that, we have Star Guardians of Chaos going 2-0 up on Pixel Powering, taking the set, but again, because we are still in that Swiss stage, we're going to be seeing that third game played, Splat Zone's ship-shaped cargo.
This is another interesting map mode. One that's notoriously known to be lockout heavy, mind you. But you know, it comes with the game, and honestly, at this point, you know, the key factor here is just try and make sure that you don't get locked out. It is very easy to get locked out, and the lockout is very oppressive as well. So if you don't have the tools or if you don't have the game plan to try and figure out exactly how you want to deal with a lockout scenario there, once you lose a single team fight, your game is pretty much done at that point.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and you know, as we've seen how just powerful Star Guardians of Chaos can be, we might just be seeing a little lockout happen in front of us. But Pixel Purring have been playing so valiantly for the entirety of this set. Again, we could still see something come from them going into this game 3.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Even though you lost the set, you still want to try and play out this last game for whatever points you can get to help out your seeding here. So, and if anything, Pixel Purring should be fighting even more valiantly here, even more to try and stay alive for a little bit longer, because this point may actually be their do or die heading into the bracket series here later on in No Ink here. But as both teams take a runaway, we don't see any major changes from both teams. Both teams are confident in what they brought in. Last time, you know, they're thinking it's going to be the key here to try and win out this next game. But already, Star Guardians of Chaos lost his first pick as Pixel Purring takes the first point.
Yeah, Pixel Purring able to get that first pick, able to get that first bit on the point. Now, we do see the soda go down, but it is being blocked in a cavalcade of strikes. And I believe we did see a killer well. Oh no, a Booyah Bomb coming as well. But you know what? Very, very good job for them to get through that. We're seeing them answer with a splashdown. We see them answer just by pushing up. And you know what? Pixel Purring may be the ones to cause the lockout.
Yeah, it's sitting pretty here. They're already moving up far forward to try and lock out Star Guardians of Chaos here. But with the good specials from them, they're able to break through that wall almost immediately and already just moving in quickly, using special after special after special to clear the area, clear the zone, and push Pixel Purring back as far as they can. As now they're the ones who take control of it. They're riding out the points to potentially just lead here.
Trying to take control of this zone. Look at that, the Reeve Slider is coming in, and we are just straight back in control. Clean, no questions asked, and we are seeing 2 go down on either side, but I do believe there was some soda shenanigans happening on the side of Pixel Purring, as we did see a couple quick respawns. But look at this, we are seeing the zone completely neutral for a second, as once again we do see Pixel Purring taking control of the zone, even through the strikes there. 2 down though, we are going to be seeing that zone flip, I am sure of it. There we go, we do hear a killer well coming out as well. The only person up right now is that Brella, trying to go pick up the KO that they were unable to get with that splashdown. But there we go, they do just retreat and just try and make a little bit more space in the back line. Cause a little bit of issues, but no, Kreeth is going to be there and able to pick that up with the ball point.
Good pick up there, and with the lead slob, Star Guardians of Chaos definitely want to try right up to the very end here, but the Reset is going to say no, and immediately swap the zone back into their favor, especially with 2 down from Star Guardians of Chaos. Pixel Purring are wanting to try and retake this lead as best they can here. Tactical Girl online on their side means that they clear this aggressively, but not too many repercussions here as they get yet another pick off Star Guardians of Chaos. Pixel Purring are now looking to try and get another lockout scenario here. Once again, lead is swapped, another player is down yet again, a 1-for-1 trade here on this left-hand side means that Pixel Purring has to kind of scatter a bit to try and deal with that follow player here. But Star Guardians of Chaos been able to get 3 down, and now to be able to take his own back once again.
Here we go, we have the Stamp get pulled out as well, just trying to go in, get a few more picks for that team. Goes down just a little bit too early. We've seen that S-Plus try and pick him up, but no, it does fall back onto the heavy edit. to pick up where the air splats just could not get the kill. Very nice assist from them, though, just doing enough damage for Heavy Edit to be able to get that very quickly. And as you look at that, we are seeing that splash shot come down. We get 2! Almost 3 come from it as well, and that third one is just going to be able to get picked up. Star Guardians and Chaos not able to even get the lead. Going into the rest of this, we go down to 1 minute 45 seconds remaining on the clock. And you know what? This very much could be Pixel Power getting their one back.
Yeah, this could be a huge for Pittsburgh if they play the remainder of this game properly here, but unfortunately they're going to go losing out 3 players, potentially a 4th to a delayed wipeout. Not scratched at true wipeout here. 1 minute 30 seconds remaining. Star Guardians of Chaos has control of the zone, but they have a bit of penalty points to try and eat through before they can actually start getting close to contesting that lead here. And with 1 player down, Pixel Ring are definitely want to try and make sure that they can spread them out far enough so they can get the advantage here. And with 3 players down, Star Guardians of Chaos unfortunately lose out the zone once again. Pixel Ring with that wipeout means that they're looking very good here as we enter the final minute of the game.
I think we didn't need to pop all that, though. I saw the Reef Slider coming, but we already had 3 of them down, so we may have popped everything just a little bit too early going into the final moments of this game. That could bite them, but you know what? They're playing so well right now. The sides of Pixel Purring coming in. We see those strikes come out, but no, they're able to hold, and you know what? Dearie me, so sorry for even thinking that a Reef Slider would not be able to come back for the time of this final. 4, 3, 2. We see the Reef Slider come out, just stop anything from getting past, and there we go. We do see a knockout, this time on the side of Pixel Per Inc., turning this set from 2-0 into 2-1.
And as an interesting tidbit here, this is our first 2-1 we saw today so far. Our past 2 sets have been 3-0s on their end, so seeing a 2-1 here is kind of refreshing and honestly kind of fun to see here. Pixel Purring really played that very well here to win out this game 3 against Star Guardians of Chaos, who up to now have been showing that they can absolutely go blow for blow with against Pixel Purring here. But man, oh man, what a glorious game that was nonetheless. They did an extraordinary well job going toe-to-toe against Star Guardians of Chaos.
Honestly, very, very well played from both teams there. We finally saw it. We finally saw one team get that 2-0 up. But Pixel Per Inc. down, but definitely not out, and I cannot wait to see how the rest of this tournament goes. But I do believe we're not going to be seeing the rest of this tournament in the casters booth. We're going to be seeing it from the stands, as I believe that is our last set that we get to commentate.
Oh, absolutely. As much fun this was, these past few sets that we've been commentating here, that is going to be it from our side as we wrap things up and get ready for our next block of commentators here coming in shortly here. So anything else you want to say, add, or do as we wrap things up here?
I mean, hey, you've said it, you've seen it a little bit coming up on the screen there, but if you want more of me for whatever reason, you can find me on Twitter at m_r_slap, or you can find me at umjammerslap on Blue Sky. But what about you, Dark?
Well, you can find me at SPF Dark on Blue Sky or SPF_Dark at most other social media websites where we post just random nonsense from time to time. But more often than not, you probably hear me time and time again across the multiple organizations we have, either here in IPL, CCA, Double Productions. I'm literally all over the place here, so you will most likely hear my voice on a weekly basis at the very least. But with that being said and done, what a glorious block we just had here. But don't go anywhere just yet. As we head to the break, we'll have some new faces here on the mic stand for you guys anywhere. So go to the bathroom breaks, get some snacks, get some water. We will be right back after this break.
Take care.
Welcome one, welcome all. We are back here for Low Ink April 2025, the second half of day one kicking off here. But before I get too ahead of myself, my name is Rocket, and joining me is the one and only and lovely Skep. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Rocket. I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to be here for yet another Low Ink. It's been so long. Also, it's probably been a while for our competitors here on Shellfire and Stake waiting to get into the next round.
Indeed, indeed. And taking a look at these teams, at least in this particular Low Ink, they've had very identical runs so far. Both teams currently sit at 2-1 here, so this match can go a long way in determining who makes what bracket here, as they're still fighting for that alpha bracket spot, of course.
Yeah, and both teams 2-1 right now. We have Stake 2-1 in their sets, and then Shellfire on the other side did go 1-2 in their previous set. So holding on there, but not enough to squeak by the win. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And taking a look at things, we're going to be kicking it off on Game 1. And what is Game 1? Well, it's TC Macomart, a very classic type map mode, typically seen always on Tower, either that or Splat Zones here. But Tower presents a very interesting map because we already know how the map is structured. All those corners and ledges can attest itself to blasters and sloshers, but with it being Tower, that's just amplifying it a lot more.
Yeah, this is either a dynamic map mode with lots of back and forth exchanges, or one that tends to snowball very quickly out of either team's control. Don't really see it too much in the direction of one or the other. Just stable, it was classic, expected, all words I would use to describe Macomart, but I'm just excited.
For sure, and taking a look at the rest of our games here, just out of vacuum, we're going to be seeing all of them, because remember, as in groups, we are play all three, so Game 2 will be Rainmaker Undertow Spillway, and Game 3 will be Clan Blitz Museum de Alfonsina. But before we get to that, we're just going to jump straight into it. TC Macomart will be our game 1. Let's see what these teams have in store for us to start off.
I do see an 89 badge on one of those teams. That does make me very excited. Maybe we're going to see some super chumps. Oh, not quite today. However, look at all of that fall-off damage on the side of the stakes. You have that Dreadbringer, you have the Blaster, the Roller, all of those weapons really going to be able to take advantage of those stacks.
Yeah, an interesting comp coming out to Shellfire, not running a mid-line, well, you can consider Edit to be the mid-line here, but very aggressive weapons all around here. Unfortunately for them, they do lose 2 players in that Edit and Dapple Dooley, so there will not be a cooler on the side of Shellfish, at least for this first fight, as now Stake surges forward with this, and now they're moving towards that first checkpoint. However, the counter-strikes do come in.
Yeah, Stakes getting to that first check, but not being able to keep their little toes on it. We do see that they lose the Roller, and with that stability bringing special of the Big Bubbler. Stakes backing, maintaining control of their left side. That's exactly what you want to see here. Delta being aggressive with that boost to be behind to be as forward as possible as the rest of their teammates do come out of spawn and catch that tower.
And now continuing to try to move forward here. You did see that Booyah Bomb being invested. Now the Tri-Strikes on the other side of Shellfire managing to get some space going here. You see the Edit, and then I believe just trying to keep that mid space, unfortunately, is picked off, and that is a very key pick for Stake to surge forward now, not having to worry about that Edit, just trying to keep the fire here. You do see a Re-Slider going on that right side of this that stack, not being able to quite find much value, but the trades going left and right eventually will go into the favor of Shellfire, as that is a 1 compared to 2 player stack.
Things been very back and forth so far, Rocket. We finally see Shellfire back at that first checkpoint, but right before they go 2 down and burn those strikes on the push. So while we do see Stakes 2 players down, realistically, we're not seeing the movement from Shellfire here to necessarily say that they're going to break this first checkpoint soon.
Sure, just at a deadlock, what he seems to trying to find an opportunity, and that could be with that pick onto board right there. Just being able to take out that Ghoulies, and also the Octoshot as well, another great pick. Just being able to surge Stake forward here. Jay is however taken out, and now an opportunity, but the picks going into the favor of Stake. Good surge forward. You do have to worry about board on this left side with the Dapples, and unchecked Dapples can prove dangerous, as well as the rest of the team, as now especially being invested heavily by Stake with the Bubbler and Reef.
Yeah, but once that bubbler comes out, so does that reef slider there from the Dapples. We do see Jay going behind the tower, getting one, not able to clean up the blaster. But again, the blaster not able to clear that first check. Are they going to be able to clear the first checkpoint? No, not able to do so. So realistically, we are halfway through this game. Neither team having broken either checkpoint. Those specials coming out really well on both defense to prevent that checkpoint from falling.
Yeah, it's Skip, and I get a feeling something's gonna have to give way eventually. Some opportunity's gonna break, all it takes is one push at this moment. A very slim 3-point lead you mentioned. Neither team being able to get through that first checkpoint. However, it's still very much deadlocked. Both sides do lose one player now. Actually, it's swinging in favor of Shellfire with them losing their with Snake losing their S-Blast here. Cooler is popped. However, the picks are still not really just being favored towards either side. Dread now going down from Snake here, but eventually Snake will actually manage to get its way onto the tower. Nice reslider there. Will take out one, but still a lot of neutral happening here.
That could be the moment. With Stakes, never mind. We lose the Dreadringer up on the snipe. Emil alone on that tower is going to be giving jumps, but not before the Dapples does reef slide in. Bubble coming out from tower on the side of Stakes as Emil backs to this left stack, trying to shred that and keep those players out. 2 down, but we have those ink strikes ready to go on Shellfire. That tower's not going anywhere.
That tower's not going anywhere. Shellfire, a key T2 picks on that brush. That flake was huge to deny Stake any more advantage there onto that tower. Now a minute left here, do or die time. You still have Stake with a very slim lead here. Some pressure is on Shellfire to get something going. Noxy will manage to find one with that bubble up as well. So difficult to deal with and finding 3. That is a one, but this is what Stake needed to really pull across. This match has been deadlocked from the start, but now an opportunity for them to potentially get this first checkpoint.
Potentially continue to hold the world's narrowest lead here in Loic. We have those strikes right on time to deny that tower as Stakes has 2 specials online to break this. The Booyah coming out at Deltar's feet, going to give Brian enough time to slide in and tap. Finally, at long last, Rocket, the first checkpoint has fallen.
Yes, and now it is starting to snowball out of control for Stake here. Shellfire needs to get a quick defense happening soon because you see Skip at the top already at the 40-point mark and already at that second checkpoint. If they're able to get the second checkpoint, that could prove to be fatal for Shellfire here now. Overtime looms now, 5 seconds left, and it does have Cooler to the side of Stake here, giving them a little bit more fighting power. They smartly choose to back off of those trip strikes. With that Cooler now, they will be in overtime. Roof Slider going in, managing to find one, but the trades are there. 3 players go down for Stake.
Yeah, this could be it. That's GG's. And with that, we do see Stakes taking that tower and riding on to victory. That first checkpoint having fallen in the final 30 seconds of Game 1. Absolutely blowing my mind.
And massively done there by Stake. Massive props as well to Noxy on that roller, finally being able to break that deadlock that was in that game skip. I mean, I feel like that match would have lasted forever. I mean, there was like that is something we don't see often, at least on that map as well. Just like nothing gave for a good solid 4 minutes during that entire moment. I mean, any opportunity that seemingly was suddenly broken by maybe, say, a flanking brush, maybe a reef slider, or the trip strike just stalling it out. But eventually Moxie was able to find those key picks there with that roller, with that bubble, and ultimately just end that one.
Yeah, and with it, here we go on to another very practice map mode for all of our competitors. Rainmaker Undertow. We've had it since day 1, just like Makomar, and I think we've always loved it.
Yes, I've always loved this. Obviously, the key approaches to this map are taking it to the left or taking it to the right, the left being taken the more often way just because of the ease there, but it does provide a very difficult choke point to really push through, especially getting past that first checkpoint. After that moment, it is so difficult to push through those narrow alleyways. You have a lot of height disadvantages, a lot of arches that really the defending team can really utilize.
Now, remember when that, where it used to be uninkable on Slick? That little choke point? And now everything goes so fast once you get to that point. I think we forget how slow pushes on left felt once you got below that 35 margin. Now you can get to 35 to 12 pretty quickly, just by swimming a little bit. That is an area where defenders do tend to drop overzealously to attempt a defense. So that little choke point, like you mentioned, can just be such a make or break position.
Yeah, and to add on to that as well, I'm sure both these teams need to make sure that they are staying in front of the Rainmaker. You need to put bodies or bombs or something to stall out the Rainmaker, because one opportunity can prove disastrous as Rainmaker can search forward. We do see a little bit of a switch here coming out from Stake. Noxy now switching over to the Carbon Roller, so now something that Shellfire has to worry about is a sneaky little Carbon just hiding.
Yeah, especially when you have to remember how much they tore up TC Museum on that vanilla roller. I don't even think they were running Ninja Squid for that either, but they dropped a quad. That's a player I'm going to be cautious about looking into game 2. You definitely want to prevent Stakes from taking the dub here, because with it, that could seal their ticket to Alpha Bracket and cause Shellfire to lose their spot.
Yeah, you see Shellfire on that left side surging forward, and luckily enough, Snake did have the players there, but like I mentioned in the beginning of this game, you need to make sure you keep an eye on the path to the Rainmaker pedestal, because that could have been very, very dangerous for Snake. They do recover right nicely though, as they surge forward. You do see the Reef Slider going in. The edit does fall to the side of Shellfire, so no cooling will be had temporarily. He does have that Zuka, though unfortunately is taken out by the whales here, as you see Snake just trying to find any opening moving forward.
They're using that Rainmaker in order to clear those corners that they don't have clear line of sight on is really good out from Stakes. We did see them get one of those players down before Shellfire pushed in and managed to clean up that Rainmaker and potentially set themselves up for a push. Despite that, Stakes back in the game very quickly, already clearing up that left side, now looking towards the right as we see the members of Shellfire repositioning for a defense.
Yes, we do have that Dreads Roof Slider too. 2 players quickly fall for Shellfire. The Whales are there. A lot of specials being invested in 2 players fall for Stake. Really nicely done there by Shellfire to use those specials. Really just give Stake no opportunity to move here. All the players of Stake though chipping to Bride, who manages to get a nice 2-piece and that wipeout as well. That was huge coming out from Stake, being able to get those picks. Now surging forward here. Good opportunity to take this lead even farther. Unfortunately is stopped, but you'll take that push any day.
Beautiful understanding of your own hitbox. I just want to say that. Knew exactly in their head where those sloshes were going to come out to get those 2 players. And we see Shellfire getting that pop. That makes me a little bit nervous here on Undertow, but thankfully grabbing that Rainmaker so we don't end up with some sneaky plays to cheese that to a KO. Shellfire does drop in, but not before they're taken out by Delta and Noxy up on that left side. Look how grouped up the members of Shellfire there on that right portion of the map. That is where we are going to see Stakes looking and preparing to push. That's why they're sharking there, but that's also a predictable spot for them to be found. Brian getting one, trying to follow up on the dually, their teammate coming in to help, but unable to find the Dapples before that special comes out.
And look at that, the Rainmaker being reset. Pressure still on Shellfire. Remember, they have not yet gotten that first checkpoint yet. You do see the Booyah Bomb invested by Stake to just maybe pressure up that left side. Unfortunately, won't find much value as 2 members did fall for Stake, now being forced on the back foot here. A good opportunity for Shellfire to kind of surge forward. They do look like they're electing to take this left side as well, with Bree leading the charge with the Zuka, creating so much space here, but you do have to worry about that lurking Carbon right there, managing to just kind of ledge cam, putting that Rainmaker in a very difficult spot, and the Reef Slider to boot as well, finding 2. Massively done by Stake, now turning the tide on Shellfire, using a little bit of their own tricks there to just keep pressured on the Rainmaker and leave them nowhere to go.
Remember that we have yet to see Shellfire break that first checkpoint. So we've seen Stakes push, they broke the check, they managed to get, below that 35 mark. It's not that big of a push, but considering they still have that first checkpoint to defend, it can buy them some time. Working towards this right side as Azuka comes out, that Suzuka is going to provide enough chip for Nox to be taken out by Board. Board dropping and trying to find another one, does do so. Shellfire, if they can manage to get this Dreadbringer on this left side, this could set them up for a push here, Rocket.
Yeah, great opportunity here with Reef Slider as well. Board is just chilling on that right side near the right checkpoint, but it looks like the Rainmaker is on the left side, in fact, here, just trying to find an opening here, trying to continue up this path. They do have to worry about 2 members of Stake here. One does go down here, but now with 40 seconds left, it is very crucial that this Rainmaker makes its way to that goal point, managing to almost make its way, but from behind, yet again, the Dread managing to stop it right in its path. 30 seconds left here. You need to get paint in front of the checkpoint if you're on the side of Stake here, as now this is do or die time for Shellfire.
Very eager to break that first checkpoint without having any teammates in front of them, spelling the end of that push for Shellfire, and possibly the end of the game, as we do see that Booyah taking out 2 players, meaning that Shellfire now has to not only pop this Rainmaker, Bree alone on top mid as they lose that the other player on the left side, they have to grab it as well and handle the fact that every member of Stakes is going to be looking right at them, because there is one pick right now that could end the game and secure this. Emilio, having a lot to look forward to on that left side of the map, does manage to pick Noxy as that Reef Slider for the Dread comes in on that right side. Oh my gosh, they actually managed to get it, Rocket. They might get the dunk.
This is crucial now, a good opportunity here for Shellfire to move forward. You still have to play it smartly though, but a lot of specials were invested on the side of Stake here, not having to worry about it. 2 players do fall here, just the Edit and the S-Blast here. The S-Blast just dives in, trying to get the Rainmaker, and that will do it. The ending Shellfire's comeback attempt, what looked so promising there. Stake closes the door finally and takes that set 2-0 at the very least. Well, nicely done there by Stake, and so clutch there from that S-Blast to just move in and be able to find that pick there. If that S-Blast wasn't able to get it, that would have been a 3-down situation for Stake, and Shellfire could have easily taken that one.
I mentioned over-eager defenses at that point on the map, and that's exactly what we saw out from that S-Blast. However, that eagerness paid off. In overtime, had that, you miss your shots on occasion. Had that knock on their way, I definitely think Shellfire could have pulled the lead there and brought us into a Game 3 situation where we were playing for set point. But now, Shellfire looking towards taking that W to show that this is the level that they're playing at.
For sure. And Stake, just really nicely done to just stay calm under pressure. Yes, that was a mistake that they had. They're unable to really get much value from their specials, but honestly, it was just nicely done by Shellfire, in fact, to really just leave those specials to a minimum. But ultimately, in the end, Stake was able to crunch down. They were able to get the pick that mattered, and that's really was just all set up from their first push from the beginning, forcing Shellfire into a hard situation to be forced to make that final push in overtime. As you mentioned, Rainmaker in overtime is so dangerous to really put yourself in. But with now going to Game 3 Clans Museum, let's see if at least Shellfire can get one on the board.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Clams, a decentralized mode, just like Rainmaker, where the players have the opportunity to spread out, take their 1v1s while showing off a great deal of coordination. I'm excited for that here, given how aggressively and scrappy both of these teams have been playing.
100% here. You see Stake in the purple, Shellfire in the orange here. Starting things off, no picks on either side. You did see Shellfire switching over to the Octobrush and Splash instead of what they ran last time. Jay using that Octobrush to good use, managing to find one, will jump out because of that Zipcaster here, but and a good opening pick nonetheless. On the other side with Stake, we do see that orange/red zap as well for the Chumps.
They are cooking here. Delta there showing that their Stakes well done. As I'm sorry. Was that bad?
It is bad.
Was that bad?
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. You do see Noxy out here on the left side here with the Clams actually being shut down by the rest of Shellfire here. But look at the map. It is mostly purple here. Unfortunately, though, as soon as I say that, Commentators curse, Shellfire does go. Shellfire does force the wipeout, and now on the offense.
We do see the S-Blast pushing towards that top mid, trying to camp that jump. Goes for board, does manage to get one of them. Emilio and Bree now trying to back up their fallen teammate, but Delta miraculously somehow still alive on top mid and not called out. This could get dicey here.
Very dicey indeed, especially since Shellfire now go 3 players down, just left to the Splash left. and now a great opportunity for Stake to move in. You do have the chumps as well to create even more space. Booyah already being invested here, and now a great opening and positioning here. Noxy just needs to make their way there, and you do see the ball slowly and but surely making its way up here, just trying to get on top of the spinner, but actually being denied by the Octobrush. The opportunity and window might have been slammed shut there by Shellfire here, as yes, a ball will be made by Brian here, and the basket will be open, but at least Disaster has been denied, at least for temporarily. However, you do have the balls making their way into the basket. 60 is the total, but the players are falling left and right here, Skep, as eventually the push does die down, yes, but without a lot of damage being dealt. You do see 51 on the score.
Did that push narrowly surviving. The Dread opting to form that ball rather than going back to the other one, knowing that it might still be there for them to extend their lead. 51 is nothing to laugh at. We do have Shellfire with a lot of clams ready to go, and specials. That Zipcaster coming out, but you gotta remember the Brush is the one that has all their clams, so if they go down in this Zip, there goes their control of objective.
Yes, it does here. You do have Noxy with those chumps. They're just trying to use it to retake mid, try to take all the space, but unfortunately they do lose two teammates there in that Dread and in that S-Blast, being forced now to just go back on that spinner. Nice exiting pick, but is traded out very, very quickly here. 2 minutes left. This is now Shellfire's opportunity to move forward. You see Emilio with that ball and with the cooler as well to support their team. They do go down though, so again, we're seeing a little bit more of this back and forward action. It's gonna obviously favor Stake though, because they don't have any reason to push in.
It's difficult. You have to be able to get enough paint down, but you also have to be able to keep the members of Stakes off the board for long enough to push. That's a complicated task. We do see Brian here being devious, keeping Shellfire out of mid. That's where the clams are. That's how they get the control of objective to be able to pull lead. So by doing so and just getting a straight pick here and straight pick there, that keeps control of mid and clams in Stakes' hands.
You do have a ball almost being formed on the side of Stake with this edit here, just waiting for an opportunity there, right on cue. It does have a ball here in case they do need to they need to get that lead back, but still with that lead, Shellfire has with the lead, Stake has not had any pressure to really move in. It is all on Shellfire here. Jay may have found an opening there, managing to find two, now with a ball as well. They just need to get this paint down like you mentioned here, but it is very much still in Stake's control. Mid is at least, but you do have two specials to use here on the side of Shellfire.
They have that cooler coming right on out. They also have that Reslider to potentially forcibly break flat open here, but the members of Shellfire comes up around that top mid area. Noxy goes in. Do they know that there's one on the bottom right? I'm not sure, but they're not called out either way. Word on that plat pushing in. We've got 3 power clams in the hands of Shellfire. This could be it. This could be the moment they pull lead, but their feet are unpainted. Emilio still in mid. Ford jumping in, does get that one underneath the basket, recaps that. Emilio tries to go in and get that dunk, but not able to hit that clam in time. Shellfire in control, but this is a make it or break it moment for them. They need clams in that basket because otherwise they are not getting overtime. That's GG.
That's GG indeed, and they didn't have any ball to continue that overtime. The only one that they had in their possession was used to even get that push going to begin with, but Stake just knew the clock, knew the situation, knew what Shellfire had to do. They were running out of options, and Stake just patiently was able to wait and take down the push one by one by one. Really nicely done from them, taking the 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, that last game was very controlled on the side of Stakes. Their push, a little chaotic. You know, it was held on, but they made it work. It was really their control of mid that excelled over the course of that game. There was no overextensions, not really. If there were, they were one person taking a risk and not the whole team. They kept their paint down, their specials, the Reef Slider in particular, used to force clams back and out of the picture. I thought it was great. Really good job from Stakes, and I hope they have a fantastic run.
Yeah, and with that, putting themselves up very much so in alpha bracket contention there. With a 3-1 now, they sit pretty there. And on the other side of Shellfire, a little bit of a speed bump in their path. 2-2 now. Still definitely doable to come back and make alpha bracket still, but it's going to be an uphill battle now with that loss. So GG's to both teams. Let's see if they'll be able to make their way into day 2 alpha bracket. But at least for us right now, we'll be taking a very momentary break here as we wait for the rest of these games to be played out in round 4. So we'll be right back for round 5 of Swiss here shortly.
Hello and welcome back to Low Inc. April 2025. My name is Skepidalians and I'm here again back with Rocket. Rocket, we are flying in hot here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are indeed. Actually, these teams were so ready to get things going that they already played a game one without us. Poor Judgment, our #1 seed, versus Pringle Cat. Pringle Cat ended up taking that game one in a knockout fashion. It was very close, but ending up in Pringle Cat's fashion. And like I mentioned, Poor Judgment, the #1 seed, did really well in the March low ink here. Dropping that first game against Pringle Cat leaves a very interesting situation, as now with a potential upset going into game 2, TC Shipshape Cargo, Poor Judgment are on the back foot.
Yeah, and they are going straight to tower control shipshape, which is quite the map mode to be on the back foot on. We know that first check tends to break pretty dominantly for the team that is aggressing, and that second check, man, once you get to that point, it can be a point of no return for many teams. So definitely wanting to keep their feet planted firmly in the ground as we head to this map mode.
100% here, and now, a lot on the line for, both these teams, at least for what I'm seeing. I believe both these teams are currently 3-1 in terms of groups, in terms of the entirety of Group A. Yep, Poor Judgment 3-1, Pringle Cat 3-1 as well. So, this one as well will go a long way into potentially being a tiebreaker in determining who makes it to Alpha Bracket Day 2. Again, a lot of Day 2 placements on the line here, and in taking a look at these two teams, at least I personally know how Poor Judgment loves to play, and I actually know one of their players, Fallhole, is a dualies player, and it's typically not seen in terms of typical comp nowadays, because you typically see like support shooters such as Splash, but Poor Judgment uses Splat dualies as theirs.
Yeah, these players are all vaguely familiar to me. I recognize Entei, probably a frequent SOS warrior, and I recognize Tesseract from New Inkland, which was in Boston a couple of weekends ago. JP, also a former teammate of mine on the side of Pringle Cat, so this is a little weird for me, Rocket.
Yeah, we both have friends on both sides, I believe, here, so let's just see how this goes. A typical comms coming up from both sides. Really the only thing that could be a little bit different is Tesseract running that 12 string. That hammer is going to be so vital in getting those key picks and opening things up already. Pringle Cat losing their shot.
We do see Tesseract here on this top right, trying to start looking gradually towards that left side of the map that they're going to need to control the push. Blueberry goes in, does manage to find one, make that two. We do see the Splatling player there backing towards that left side. Blueberry, this bubble here for this first checkpoint could make this very secure for them.
Very secure for them indeed. Now continuing to move forward, you see Fallhole in this crab, just trying to take up positions on this left side. Strikes will delay the push a little bit, forcing the players off, but still, that first checkpoint will be taken out, and you see the Zuka coming in as well, but still, Pringle Cat just being able to recover really nicely there, leaving that push just dead after that first checkpoint, but still, a very solid push for Poor Judgment to start things off.
Yeah, having broken that checkpoint. Ooh, 2 down on the side of Pringle Cat as Poor Judgment again heads for that second checkpoint. To be honest, I was surprised that this push had stopped so early, but it did look like they backed, gathered their resources, and are now opting to keep this going. We see a lot of orange paint from Pringle Cat during their court, but very quickly being covered out by Poor Judgment. They do lose their backline and that chip damage. JP taking down one of those players on that bottom right side. This could be an opportunity for Pringle Cat to start looking forward, especially now that their own top right is clear and the court.
Yeah, really nicely done there by JP to take out the dualies in Fallhole there. Now with a bubble up as well, could easily take this positioning up. On the other side, you do have the Wall Strings hammer available. Blueberry does fall, that decab on Poor Judgment now down. Now here comes out the hammer here, not actually managing to find one, I believe, onto the edit here, as it is just a fight on this left side here for the tower here. Both sides just trying to get paint. Fallhole now falls. Now 3 players in total fall for Poor Judgment, and now this push that looked stalled out for Pringle Cat is now continuing on with that Zuka coming out as well.
get Tesseract forced back, but managing to stay alive, but not for long. 3 members left standing on the side of Poor Judgment as they are not going to be able to defend this first checkpoint. Not too much of a surprise. It is a difficult checkpoint to defend if you don't have any players in mid at the time that it breaks. But now we see Pringle Cat pulling a lead. This is the snowball point. Tesseract being striked out of that top right side of the map. They are giving jumps as well. FNP not able to get the pick as that Zuka does come out. I cannot believe Tess is still alive up there.
Yeah, it's creating all that space. All of a sudden, Pringle Cat are continuously still going here. Tesseract just trying to find any space to work with, not any space to really stay with. And now this key point is taken on that right side as they coast towards the goal. And with that, Pringle Cat take a 2-0, at least for the set for now. They will ultimately win this set, and Poor Judgment ultimately now 3-2 for the entirety of Low Ink, our #1 seed, a little faltering a little bit, but nicely done by Pringle Cat, at least right now, to pull off that upset.
Seed 1 curse in Low Ink. Someone correct me, I know that the super Low Ink fans, the super fans, know the percentage of which seed has ever won the tournament. Has the seed 1 ever won the tournament? Genuine question.
Not to my memory, at least from what I've seen, but I'm also curious about that statistic.
I know there's a data cruncher out there, who knows?
Where's Jordan when you need them? We need them on the case as soon as possible, but anyways, irregardless, really nicely done from Pringle Cat. That, I mean, all it took for them was really one push to straight 100-0. I mean, it almost felt like, because Poor Judgment did have their number with them being able to cycle special as well, but then it was immediately flipped on its head, and Pringle Cat said, what you can do, I can do better. And I mean, being able to take that key position on that right side of where that second checkpoint was is so key, because that second checkpoint was notorious for being very, very difficult to deal with. But I mean, Pringle Cat made that one look easy.
And they also are setting themselves up for Alpha Bracket. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Poor Judgment, there's not quite out of it yet. Like, tiebreakers could shake out in their favor, especially if they manage to walk away here with Game 3 on Rainmaker Crableg.
Yeah, basically solidifying it in any potential tiebreakers here. Rainmaker Crableg provides very interesting map design. Obviously, Greats being kind of the key obstacle. You might want to think of it that way. So, interested to see how these teams are going to really navigate this one, especially with seeing a pen.
Yeah, this comp on the side of Poor Judgment with that wellstring and that pen at the same time does give me a little pause. I am familiar with Tesseract's wellstring. Scary. I don't like fighting them. It is obnoxious. A good wellstring is not someone I want on the other side of the map any day of the week. But that pen, I'm concerned about the synergy here between those two weapons. But Tessa does play rather aggressively, so that could potentially make up for it. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Highly probable.
Sure here. And now taking a look at these weapons, you do see Reset actually switching over to the Slosher, I believe. And on the side of Poor Judgment, still sticking firm with what they got here, still holding firm, at least trying to get one onto the board. We're opening things off here, both sides. We'll be trying to just desperately get that Rainmaker pop, but it will go to the side of Poor Judgment.
Yeah, especially with that Wellstring's object damage. I don't see Pringle Cat being able to contest very many pops this game unless they do have a squid advantage. 3v3 situation as Fallhole quickly burning that crab, trying to clear that right side. They know that 2 members of Pringle Cat are on that right side. Opting to clear their left side of the map here first with that Zuka out. Look how grouped up they are. Fallhole might get a triple here, or at least get 1 or 2.
Yeah, with that flank as well. Managing to take that Rainmaker hold on a golden opportunity to maybe sneak this one up this checkpoint side. You do have Reset there with the quick response. That would have looked dangerous here. On the flip side, I believe the shot on the side of Pringle Cat was able to take so much space that Poor Judgment wasn't able to really help out Fallhole here. And with that, Pringle Cat do have a golden opportunity to maybe hit this left checkpoint here, but unfortunately the Rainmaker is taken out.
Ellie is fighting another one of the dualies on that left side, does go down as we see Poor Judgment retaking control of mid. They do manage to get the pop. 2 members down on the side of Pringle Cat as Tesseract pops that stamp and manages to get a nice one with that hammer toss. Top right, free and clear here for the dunk. If they can lift the Zuka player going down as first checkpoint falls. This is it. This is the game that they need to win in order to potentially hold their ground in a tiebreaker.
Sure here, Tesseract here, just trying to give jumps to the rest of Poor Judgment. As you saw, Fall Hold created so much space with their push, with that crab, that really allowed them to get that checkpoint here. However, they cannot rest on that push because you see here on their counter-offensive, Pringle Cat just painting up so much of mid, taking all this space in their color. You see Blueberry on the stamp now instead of that decap. Does end up going down here, an opportunity for Pringle Cat to move on this right side, especially since 2 players are down on the side of Poor Judgment.
We see Pringle Cat breaking that checkpoint as it is just the Stamper left standing. An excellent opportunity to squeak by the lead here. Stamper alone on that top right side, but the bombs keeping FMP on that Rainmaker out of the picture. The members of Poor Judgment now all up and ready to potentially set up their defense here. A 3v3 situation, FMP dying to a stray little chicken. That push closed out for Pringle Cat, but not before they managed to pull that lead.
For sure, and now you see here just trying to find another opening to get back into the swing of things. Poor Judgment just trying to create this space in mid, but unfortunately for them, Pringle Cat has a strong hold onto their side of the map. Now trying to just see if they can extend this lead on the right side is taken out by Blueberry there. Blueberry traded out in kind, but still, the push is still going. However, now Pringle Cat losing all of their members, just a shot left standing. That push will stall out as you see the Stamp managing to fly in, not finding that value onto that pick, but still, Pringle Cat with a strong hold onto mid. It is Poor Judgment's turn to try to make an attack here and pressure on them to do so.
Now that lead of 42 can fall very swiftly if Pringle Cat goes for that left push. Now that is risky because you have to jump and that leaves you open to cheeky little things like the Zuka here. Fall Hole throwing that hammer, or assisting that hammer in order to be able to get the pick on the shot mid-Zuka as JP sharking this right side, probably trying to prevent them from going for that aforementioned jump. With 2 members potentially, 2 down on the side of Pringle Cat. This could be a lead change here for Poor Judgment. First.
Could be, but you do see the Rainmaker being popped there. You did see it lose a little bit of steam. The push that is, as Blueberry tries to take this fight onto the grades, does lose the JP, and now with 55 seconds left on the clock here, time is running out for Poor Judgment to make a push going here. This right side hasn't really found much value. Managing to get the pick onto Fall Hole as well is JP, but eventually they are traded out by Tesseract. The strikes going in, 2 players falling from Poor Judgment, and pressure continuously being applied by Pringle Cat, leaving them no opportunity to really work with here. Now Poor Judgment have only 30 seconds left to try to get something going.
And they're on that top right side though. The crab is out. They're focusing that player on the bottom right side. But the blaster coming in, or Elias getting that pick with a cheeky little bomb throw. We do see Tesseract burning that Stamp, opting to use their main weapon, trying to keep Hate down to where they can push. I can't believe it, Rocket. They have to prep. It's time to go. 2 down.
Yeah, you have to go now. You do have to worry about the edit a little bit and the slosher, of course, but you do have numbers advantage here. Overtime in Rainmaker, so difficult to deal with. All it takes is a stray bomb or just a stray player to take out the Rainmaker, ending the overtime here, but you can't think of that now if you're Poor Judgment. Now, electing yet again to move on to this right side. Very interesting that neither team has been able to move up the left, but it won't even matter as overtime will not be had as JP on the roller gets a nice 2-piece to end things off. A sweep for Pringle Cat.
I do want to shout out JP on the roller there for consistently ending pushes with that roller. I think I saw it 3 times that game. Just a quick little cheeky shark. I love that for them. Super proud of them. Congratulations to Pringle Cat. Can't wait to see what you do tomorrow in Poor Judgment. You still got a tiebreaker. You still got a set to win. You get there too.
For sure, but they do find themselves slipping in the standings now, as with a 3-2 here, you definitely need to win your last one here to try to stand a fighting chance here, as the only team left in at least Alpha Bracket that is undefeated is Norwegian Wobber Economy on the side of the B group here. Taking a look at how teams stand here. I mean, Cole Core and Roulette still remain undefeated. They haven't played their Game 5 yet, of course. but still, they're only one player with only one team really kind of being dominant in Group A. You still can have those tiebreakers go into your favor, so both teams still have a fighting chance.
Yes, it is their opportunity to go win the video game. I'm excited, Rocket. We are heading into round 6, our final round of blowing for the day. Before we do, what's on your mind?
My mind, I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit coming into this set. A little bit of a surprise, maybe you could call it a one-seed curse that Poor Judgement, who I believe made it to 3rd or 4th, at least made it very, very far in the previous low ink, now has an opportunity to not even make it into Alpha Bracket, which is very interesting here. Taking a look at some maybe surprise teams that I'm seeing here. I mean, I was keeping a key eye on Clown Ensemble as well, as the only other loss that Poor Judgement has is against this team, Clown Ensemble, and they have been on a little bit of a roll here in terms of Alpha Bracket. I mean, taking a look at how they've played, they are currently sitting pretty 4-1, pretty much almost solidifying their way into Alpha Bracket as well. Another fan favorite, Idiots in Chat, who plays second in the previous low ink. Obviously, we might have some people, definitely not Popgun, who is preying on their downfall, but I mean, they're also sitting pretty nicely as well at 3-1, so definitely some teams to keep your eye on.
Low ink, oh my gosh, is a so much more brutal tournament than I think a lot of people in mid-level and up give it credit for. I think y'all have the stress test. Frame 1. It's a 2-day event with 6 rounds of Swiss, and Swiss can be a volatile format. Your sweatier games are later on, against teams that are also probably a little bit tired after playing the video game all day, maybe a little stressed, and so many in such a gamut of this 2-day event that means so much to people, that means so much to our community. If you can have an excellent day, just wake up on the right side of the bed, the sun is shining, the birds greet you in the morning, your cat or dog gives you the sweetest little kiss first thing, and then you can have a day where you get out of bed and you stub your toe, and it's like, it's just enough.
Over.
It's over. You know?
It's just over at that point. But yes, I like what you said there as this being a stress test, and you do see some results of Group B now. Taking a look at these results, at least a team that is near and dear to me, Karmasai Colony, did recently win FTIU yesterday, so props to them, and they have been able to make a nice standing for them as well, getting a 3-0 there, and currently they stand at 3-2. Taking a look at Group B, at least more in terms of other teams maybe to keep an eye on. Roulette, being the only team now, is currently 5-0. Up there you see at the top as well, Sea Dragons, Cold Core, Star Impacts, Anarchy Stars as your top 5 in terms of those teams. Pretty much sitting comfortably in that Group B and kind of controlling their own destiny for making Alpha Bracket.
It's so exciting. Coming back to low ink after like 6 months and like seeing who's still here, who's not here anymore. The team that took the wind out of my sails before we went live, Whip Race? How are they doing? They're currently 3-2. On the was this Group A, still slotted in for an Alpha Bracket moment. I hope I get to see them tomorrow. I'll be tuning in tomorrow. I want to see how this shakes out.
For sure, and what got them to that 3-2 is a little bit of an upset over Inception, who I know is another strong team here. So there's a good opportunity. We could see Whip Ray Alpha Bracket here if we get if they win that last game. But shifting over to going back to a little bit of what Alpha Bracket has in store for us, Norwegian Wobber Economy, like I mentioned previously, is our 5-0 only team there. Pringle Cat, we just saw earlier, now 4-1 off of that upset over Poor Judgement. Clown Ensemble I mentioned, and Idiots in Chat will close out your kind of top 4, top 5-ish area there. So these names, remember them, you will see them tomorrow.
Yeah, the top 4, unless something crazy happens.
Of course, but
it can always happen. It's low ink.
Of course, crazy chaos. I feel like that's what this tournament breeds, and that's what I love about it.
What's your favorite thing about Low Ink, Rocket?
What's my favorite thing about Low Ink? I guess it's considered, it's one of the biggest tournaments that I feel like not only does IPL run, but like that is widely recognized a lot. I mean, after switching over to from Battlefly over to Sendu, it made a lot easier here. And speaking of the amount of players here, we have 64 teams in total, and doing some like very scuffed quick maths, like that's at least like 240 players at the very minimum in terms of players. So like 600, like I can't speak. 240 plus players. Yeah, you can round it up to 300, in terms of players, but that amount of people all playing at the same time is just like wonderful to me, and I always loved Chaos in general, so seeing these teams such as for Judgement get upsetted, and Idiots in Chat still remaining firm. Some storylines being made there of, will this be Idiots in Chat's time to force Popgun to concede, I guess, will be the main things there. And of course, fan favorites like Whip Rays also showing out is always awesome. But what about you, Skip?
Poor Popgun, man. Dude, bro gets flamed on the daily, does nothing but lift up the scene with the goodwill of his heart. My favorite thing about Low Ink, honestly, is probably the memories of it and how inspiring it was to me and my team at the time to feel done with it. in a good way. Right, yeah. Because playing Low Ink for so many months, it is just such a commitment. Like the reason why I round up to 300 for a 64 team group is because, man, it's a 2-day event. You don't know who's going to be available Saturday, Sunday. You have to have extra players on your roster. So you're much more likely to see a six-person roster here in Low Ink than you are in SOS, where everyone's gathering in their pickups 30 minutes prior, right? That being said, like, preparing for Low Ink for every month for like 2 years, showing up on that Saturday, doing our best to keep everybody's heads calm and in the game and pop off but not throw, handling tough losses where we didn't do as well as we thought we would, sweeping groups and then going out in alpha. That kind of, we did it again, we're still here, like never back down, never what, and keep going is my favorite thing about Low Ink, is how well it sets up its competitors for success outside of low level. Does that make sense? Did I word that correctly?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you said there, and I kind of get that sense as well of like, ultimately this tournament, with it being 2 days, is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and that really tests teams and tests players and tests individuals on a different level that no other tournament really has been able to test these players. And ultimately, even if it doesn't go your way, it's definitely a unique experience in itself there of just like, this is just back to back sets that you're playing, and then if you do well in it, you go in and then continue on. There's just a lot of teams here. That's what I love to see about it. Going back to this is just showing out for this tournament is what has made it go for like months and months and years to come.
Yeah, it's such a staple of our community. I know we all know that in our bones. There's no denying that. It's a symbol. And Low Ink to me also means new people. New good people that will lift up each other as competitors and as people and grow. Being a competitive person, period, I think says a lot about you as a human. And what you're willing to put yourself through and your friends through, and the people who come out of Low Ink year after year, looking up and wanting to do better and be better people, that gives me a lot of hope. for our community. So
100%. And I don't want to keep like. I know this got like very sentimental really fast.
Oh, my bad.
But I 100% agree with that. Like that's the main focus is just like
Yeah.
we appreciate the community and like being able to consistently do this it's just awesome. This is awesome.
I
what
agree.
We've built.
Funny
yeah.
game.
Funny Squid Game. That's what we're here for. That's why you're watching. That's why we're commentating. That's why Inkfair is streaming. We all love this game, and it has been a part of us. So.
That's why our TOs are in help desk.
Yep, suffering and help desk. Yes, shout out to TOs as well. But yes, taking a look at things, we're still waiting on a couple of matches to finish, I believe, in terms of round 5. Taking a quick look at Group A, I think they might be all done there, if I'm not mistaken, in Group A. Taking a look at Group B, is anything we're still waiting on? Doesn't look like we're waiting on anything, so I think at the moment we're just currently waiting on which match we're going to be taking a look at. Let me take a quick
Waiting on the
look at-
hate crime and help desk, banning Blubblubber.
Oh no.
Hello?
How could you?
How could you? I'm right here, guys.
I remember, I think I saw that you did run like Blubblubber in a Ludi match.
Yes, I did. I love Blob.
How could you hate on my glorious Blubblubber weapon?
How could you start a petition? How could you do this?
Yeah.
As you were saying something about Group A?
I'm just taking a quick like look at just any round 6 matchups that could be like very instrumental in deciding alpha bracket placements. I mean, obviously Whiprays do have to win that one. You do have other teams kind of on that border-esque of making it there, or at least securing their spot, with Future Tone, with 4 of a Kind, Fruit Gummy, Egoists, and another team that is familiar to me, Star Guardians of Chaos, Poor Judgment as well, of course, and a bunch of other teams in there kind of being thrown into the mix of the 3-2, like, on the border. Taking a look at Group B, address the Gators, a great team as well. Stake, we saw on stream earlier, still definitely in the mix, and CCA Practice Squad. Very cool name.
Now, don't forget, if you end up slipping in the beta bracket, just go win it tomorrow. It's about building consistency gamers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, simply, like, I mean, even if you don't make it to the top cut, I mean, just winning your bracket proves that, hey, you might have just had some unfortunate games and you could have been doing well in alpha bracket, but like you mentioned, just kind of building up that resilience. And it does look like we do get our matchup here, and what do you know? It's a team I just mentioned. CCA Practice Squad will be your Team 1 versus Anarchy Stars here in Group B 6.3.
Ooh, here we go. Anarchy Stars versus, I'm so sorry. Yes, CCA Practice Squad. That's the team that you mentioned. We love their name. How could I overlook that, Rocket? Astral Rare. Are these all CCA players? I'm presuming that they are. CCA turning up in low ink? This is crazy.
Love to see it. I love to see it here. Where is Anarchy in terms of their standing here? Their Anarchy Stars 4-1 and CCA Practice Squad, like I mentioned, 3-2. So Anarchy Stars, if they really want to secure this one in secure alpha bracket here, this match means a lot to both of these teams here. Anarchy Stars just trying to hold firm here, just get it to 5-1, and then you are alpha bracket prone. On the other side, CCA Practice Squad is still trying to claw their way back, kind of looking on the outside, looking in, and just trying to see if any tiebreakers go their way, they could manage to sneak into alpha bracket being a 4-2 team.
That's the goal, right? You gotta sneak in, squeak on by, get going. Let me see. I'm wondering what kind of comps we're gonna be bringing out to the table. We got some shot, we got a spec DC, we got Tent!
Ooh.
In the hands of Veckel. And these are players of Night Shark, of Purdue. These are CCA players. Death Roll from Gatorland, I think that is FSU.
Yes.
UF, because it's Gators.
Mm-hmm.
FSU is Seminoles.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Oh my gosh.
I do like looking at their badges though on the side of CCA Practice Squad because I'm seeing a lot of like Gator inspired badges and that's awesome just to like see that. Like it's very fitting. I mean, it's very fitting to have UF have those Gators. Those are some cool badges though. I will say like.
I met Astral at Squids on Ice. I remember them. Oh my god.
Yeah, so we're getting familiar with these teams a little bit. Yeah, as ourselves taking a look at the other side of Anarchy Stars here. Do see a sword one trick in their captain, I believe, as well, of Anarchy Stars in Zuki. Take a look, Jonas as well. It does have a lot of more flex weapons, kind of that painting stuff as well. You do have a pen edit kind of backline here, so I mean, very standard. I mean, for at least for Anarchy Stars, but you mentioned, I think, CCA that you do see a 10 umbrella.
Yes, that was on Vekel. The low ink tent is creme de la creme. I don't know. Especially from CCA, coming off of, you know, the legacy of, what did they go by? Purdue's rocket launchers, I think is the name, their like mascot. Sub power up. 10. I'm excited to see that, especially here on Robo, which is very good for controlling the elbow. Same on Rainmaker Humpback. Very decent tent maps. Inkblot, Well, we'll see what happens. But Robo and Rainmaker Humpback are very good for 10.
Yeah, and if there are those that underestimate Tent, you will be bitten, because Tent is such a good weapon in just creating space, obviously with a giant shield to really create that space with. And you kind of mentioned that Robo Ramen and Rainmaker, Robo Ramen Splat Zones and Rainmaker Humpback are two of those modes that really suit that tent best. Well, that's just because it has those like narrow alleyways that can really just utilize the tent umbrella to its fullest. I mean, the only other tent umbrella player, at least that comes to mind, at least a top level one, is Anger on Black Lotus, and you see them run that basically pretty much on most of these maps in particular. So I'm really fascinated to see how it can be used.
Forgetting Shadowwind from Moonlight.
Well, yeah, Shadow too, but like, if there is just like one, but okay, do not crucify me, okay? It's just the first one that came up to mind because I do remember Anger.
You said only.
I mean, okay, you guys, okay, I can't really defend myself from this one. I apologize. Let me roll it back.
I'm teasing you, Rocket.
I forgot. Oh god. Okay. I just reminded because like Anger just in the corner. But anyways, jumping straight into things, taking a look at the comps. We don't actually see that 10 umbrella at all, and instead we do see a Neo Luna Blaster.
Yeah, and we don't see a 10 on either side. Instead, we have a 10 on Anarchy Stars, which is also a good 10 map for the same reasons that we described with 10, except in terms of its linear paint. That's paint that allows them to paint these chunks of straight lines. Really cuts off a team's access from their own elbow, or conversely, back into their own elbow.
For sure. And now you see that the Luna Blaster on the side of CCA pickup. Managing to find two there, Andrew there on that left side. Luna Blaster is what a weapon that we're seeing a lot more commonly, more and more. I mean, ever since the 9.3, and you can kind of guess why, because of that hammer, and with Fizzy being its sub and special combination so good. Rare just going in with the edit here, managing to find one, and now that leaves an opportunity for CCA Practice Squad with a 2-players advantage, at least momentarily, to take control of that zone.
Even game so far, neither the small point margins here for the first minute of the game. We do see finally that CCA Practice Squad is going to clear their penalty. Be there on that crab, focusing that top left area where a lot of teams do try to tend to retake from. Zuki coming in from that right side, trying to flank with that hammer, but shut down by Rare as 2 members of Anarchy Stars drop on that left side and manage to slide the zone, flipping it into neutral, but not for long. Very quick retake there from CCA Practice Squad. Now trying to focus Zuki, but Zuki getting 1, getting 2, and that is a swap there in favor of Anarchy Stars.
Hammer time indeed. Managing to get 2 there, really nicely done. Now puts CCA Practice Squad a little bit on their back foot now. As, yes, they do have a solid lead. They cannot rest for too long. You do see the Sprinkler as well helping paint the zone. Becky actually taken out in Zipcast before it can be used. 2 players now falling as Andrew falls as well with that Luna Blaster. However, the trades do come a little bit into the favor of now Anarchy Stars as they try to solidify themselves on the point. Rain being invested as well by that Nautilus. Such a good painting weapon here. Now Andrew going up this right side. Now 2 hammers being used, but the pick still going into the favor of Anarchy Stars as they could easily take this lead here, Skep, especially with Rare going down.
Oh my gosh, they managed to do so rather cleanly as well, surviving those specials and using their rain in order to stall that out. Notice that cheeky little sprinkler on top of the zone. That's going to make it very hard for CCA Practice Squad to cap the zone with only 10 ticks left. 2 players down as Anarchy Stars gets the last one there on Andrew. That is GG. Anarchy Stars taking game 1.
Really nicely done there. A really nice comeback, kind of a reverse 100-0 there in terms of just like, yes, CCA Practice Squad were able to get control of that zone quickly because of Andrew's double kill with that Luna Blaster there, but immediately afterwards, you saw the counter hammer coming in from the other side, really just eating away at the rest of these players here. I believe it was what was it? It was the Viper on the side of Anarchy Stars with that really nicely done there. And now setting themselves up well, Anarchy Stars up 1-0, 1 game away from basically locking in their spot in Alpha Bracket. And yes, it was Zuki, I believe, that was that Viper player. So really nicely done from them.
Yeah, they do need to win this one. CCA Practice Squad, they might be able to squeak on by, like you said earlier, if they do manage to take this out. But Anarchy starts setting themselves up, especially if they manage to go 3-0. That'll give them a little bit of a differential with those tiebreakers. So winning that game so decisively, frankly, after what looked to be a very good hold from the side of CCA, it really shows that they had the patience to set up a proper and clean retake and trust each other to have what they needed to online and not feed a little.
For sure, and you just need to stay calm with it. Yes, you are 1 game down in the set here, but you cannot think of that. You just got to take it 1 game at a time if you're a CCA Practice Squad to kind of just bounce back from that, because I think we touched on it a little bit during our little break there, a little like mini impromptu podcast, if you will, of just mentality is a really important factor in this now. With 5 sets already in the belt of both these teams, this is where fatigue has definitely probably set in now. You just have to play to your best, just take things 1 at a time, take a sip of water, take a deep breath here as game 2 looms here. Inkblot Art Academy Tower Control.
Shot of espresso, some yolk, you know, like bring that G Fuel, that milk, mix it together on your. sorry. Tense! We have it.
Interesting here that we do see it on, like you mentioned, Veckel here. 3 members of CCA Practice Squads running comeback here, so definitely going to be looking to try to get in that fighting. But it's very interesting that we see the Tent Umbrella on a map that I think me and you both agreed, Skip, that wouldn't really work as well as the first map.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I do think Tent, particularly this is the one with the ink mines and bazooka, could be useful in putting those mines down on a team's ramp. In order to be able to... Well, there is no ramp. This is not clams. I'm sorry. Yeah, the tent could be useful in really securing bats, getting those mines down, getting that shield, and zooking their way in there, which I believe they're doing right now.
For sure. And now you see Nozuki just kind of move up this left side with that Viper. Unfortunately, 3 players in total actually fall for Anarchy Stars, but still the push is still going on the other side though for CCA Practice Squad, as this is a different team than we saw in game 1. They could definitely taking the first initiative, and with 2 checkpoints in the books already, they can continue to kind of snowball this. Andrew does go down, but the trip strikes are here. Specials being put out left, right, and center for CCA Practice Squad, and that's what you want to do. Always have a special online to continue the snowball here. And speaking of snowball, look at the point total for them, down to 13 already, just off of the first push.
It's beautifully sustained, particularly working it back to the tent by the tent Veckel there on backs, using their Zuka in order to look towards that left, and then the staying power of a Tent Umbrella. We do see Anarchy Stars does have that Reef Slider online, but not for long. They do lose use it here as CCA pops those strikes, manages to get one, so that's a delayed 3 down. Thankfully, looks like they were able to keep that cooler because they still have that reset. No, they don't. This is another push here for CCA. The picks are rolling into their favor.
Yeah, really nicely done there. Solid defense. Still denies Anarchy Stars any checkpoint pop here. And now on this left side, this left stack, Rare trying to position themselves, trying to put pressure onto that pen. Unfortunately, does go down, so that push, before it can even get started, does lose some steam, as now it is Anarchy Stars yet again another opportunity to get in. They need to take things one checkpoint at a time. This Zuka that is available for the 10 Umbrella could prove dangerous for Anarchy Stars as they continue to move forward. The trip strikes there as well, but still solid hold by Anarchy Stars so far to deny yet again CCA Practice Squad to deny another checkpoint.
But that's 3 down here. Izuki getting 1, getting 2. I think they know that other player was on that left side and did jump out. We see Nowhere popping that cooler, prepare for this push as they get onto that first checkpoint. CCA Practice Squad having those strikes, probably going to use these to stall out the tower, but 3 down mean there's not going to be anyone to capitalize on that except for Andrew, who does rush in, gets 1, but not 3. 3 members of Anarchy Stars still on that tower and working their way up to bats. This could be dangerous.
Yeah, you do see the Slosher go down, but not before popping those trip strikes. A hammer comes flying in, managing to take out another player, Zuri, yet again on that. But still going is Anarchy Stars. The trip strikes will delay a little bit coming out from D3 on this T-Tech here, but a lead swap could be in the favor of the 10 Umbrella. The Umbrella actually managing to help the side of Anarchy Stars in that push, and with a wipeout here, finally shutting it down, but now a 1-point lead in the advantage of Anarchy Stars, and kind of what I was talking about there. Oh, before I can even say, Andrew does find a 2-piece. The 10 Umbrella shield actually ended up killing one of the players of CCA Practice Squad because a bomb was thrown into it.
Oh man, that's terrible! A team kill, you know, taking one of your own teammates out on defense there. It's such a pivotal moment where we do see that Anarchy Stars was able to pull the lead and break that checkpoint. Meaning with a minute left in this game, they just need to set themselves up for one solid defense. Going 1 player down on that bats as Andrew does push in and manage to dislocate the pen, who moves towards that right side, where we are going to see the members of CCA looking to try and break this 3rd checkpoint. Now that we're here, the 10 shield out on tower, worried about another one of those bombs. Jonas does dive it and get the pick. Beautiful cleanup there. And was that a bomb on the 10?
I think it was. It is a double-edged sword, the 10 Umbrella here. It will hurt. It will benefit you as a protection, but sometimes a stray bomb will just straight up blow up anyone in the vicinity. 8 seconds left on the clock. Andrew just trying to do anything they can on this left side. One final push will be had there, but CCA Practice Squad still down 1 meager point here. You have the GG strikes on the other side to worry about. You have Zuki on this flank, actually managed to get taken out, but here come the trip strikes, taking out 2 members of CCA Practice Squad, and they're called GG strikes for a reason, ending that game in pretty much in a very absurd fashion. Skep there as 2 very, very close defenses, just something slightly different on that attack for CCA Practice Squad could have gotten them that game, but Anarchy Stars managed to take a 2-0.
Managing to do so, securing their ticket to Alpha Bracket tomorrow. CCA Practice Squad now solidly in Beta Bracket, so that is their fight for tomorrow. These 2 teams meeting right here, right now, have different destinations moving forward into the tournament, and that's one of the beautiful factors about Loic. Now, they still should show that they are Alpha Bracket contenders by winning this 3rd game on Rainmaker Humpback.
Yes, now the tiebreakers are pretty much decided there, but I mean, do not quote me on this, there might be a very small window for CCA Practice Squad to somehow sneak through, despite being now 3, are they 3-3 now? I believe they are currently, CCA Practice Squad is currently 3-2. Okay, no, if they lost this, they would have been 3-3. So there is still, there's like a very, I don't think it's even existing anymore, but still a sliver that they should still try to get this, at least to maybe secure tiebreakers everywhere else. But like you kind of mentioned, for Anarchy Stars, trying to show, kind of showing their strength here, kind of flexing their muscles a little bit in terms of their prowess in low ink, and definitely a team to be reckoned with in alpha bracket. Moving on to this game 3.
Don't forget it was 1 point. It was 1 point.
Yes, yes.
You know, so I don't mean to dog on him too hard, you know? Like, you lost the game, but that's okay. You almost won the game. A coin flip. It could have been different. Hey, you know, sometimes you just gotta live with that. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be your day. But you know, still fantastic game. I'm so glad we got to see the tent, especially coming out of a CCA group. I feel like that's their calling. It's in their blood over there.
And yes, now moving over to Game 3, Rainmaker Humpback. I mean, they brought out the tent in Game 2. Will they bring it out in Game 3, Skip? I mean, I'll leave that speculation to you, but I feel like CCA Practice Squad, that game was basically just live by the tent, die by the tent, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, it's just really, really unfortunate. Just certain events just happen in game, really hard to really kind of adapt to that, because sometimes a random bomb is just going to get you just moving a little bit too far in front of the tent umbrella will just get you. But like you mentioned, exactly like you said, it was a coin flip of a game.
Yeah, and it's not just your tent friends that'll get you. It's also those pesky 52s, you know, throwing a wall in front of you on your jump, getting you gone. It's not just the tent. It's also those sneaky little Western Wunder players that for some odd reason populate all of Arizona. They'll also get you. That shield can kill you too. So I think tent's just the most infamous one.
Tent is such a very, very interesting weapon, and it's a weapon that we focus on just because it's not often that you see teams run it. I mean, obviously, if you were here for previous low ink, you saw Recycle Umbrella win it all, so I mean, like, this is probably pretty tame compared to that. But
also, oh, sorry.
No,
I was gonna say in S2, everybody ran a tent on clams.
Right.
Like, that was just what you did.
And it's just good for that reason. And in this game 3 could prove to be that game where that Umbrella is really good on this one for, I mean, reasons you kind of mentioned on game 1, and we kind of talked about, like, just the narrow corridors near that bunk, taking it after that checkpoint is so key to just kind of making a safe path for the Rainmaker to move forward.
Having those ink mines set up to prevent somebody from flanking through that elbow and, you know, setting up the rain. There's a lot of good reasons why I'm looking forward to seeing our little tent friend here. We did see, I believe it was a substitution out on the side of our Anarchy Stars. And that substitute is playing Tetradulies Rocket. That is quite the mix-up.
At the mix-up indeed, but I do like the choice of the Tetradulies mainly for one big reason: Reef Slider. Reef Slider is another great special in this, and I've seen more multi-kills on this map in particular in Rainmaker here more than anywhere else here. But besides that, we do see that off the rip, we do see just continuously showing their aggressive Anarchy Stars get a quick checkpoint pop, and look at all the space that they're creating here, managing to get out. Not a single player has fallen yet for Anarchy Stars. Of course, as soon as I say that, the edit falls, but Reef Slider going in to create that space manages to find the other edit as well. But we do see that attempt here just with that narrow corridor with Zuko ready as well, trying to see if they can hold.
Nice little trade there between the Luna and the Tetras. The Tetras, that Reef Slider and Elbow did find one, nearly two. Despite that, we see CCA Practice Squad in control of the Rainmaker starting to look forward, but the Rainmaker's going to find themselves pinned here between Zuki on this right side and then the edit also further up on that right side with these strikes coming out. Not many people to follow up on the strikes except for Zuki on that hammer running straight for the rain, but going to be taken out by another player on the side of the CCA. They do manage to get near that first checkpoint, but not enough to break it. That being said, Rocket, look how clumped up the members of Anarchy Stars are in that elbow.
I mean, yeah, this is basically what Humpback is all about. Very narrow fighting ways. I believe a hammer just took out some players as well. You do see Rare take that trade with Rent. You still see the Tent Umbrella still trying to stay alive. Will be forced out here. but solid defense from both sides to at least deny much further past that checkpoint point here. However, you do see that losing a little bit of steam here for the side of CCA Practice Squad might not stop them entirely, as the trade's still going out both left and right, trying to just see if they can find a little opening here as we're be set back to the very start of the game, except no, CCA Practice Squad do lose most of their players, just the edit really left standing here to try to hold.
Really appreciate Jonas's paint patterns. They're very thorough and methodical and taking space slowly to make sure that there's nobody sharking, but also efficiently enough to be able to set up a push. Beautiful painting out there from Jonas. Underappreciated skill. They do manage to get one with the Rainmaker. Looking towards that elbow again as that Zuka does come out, narrowly avoiding death somehow. Forgive me how. 3 players going down. Andrew dropping on Jonas, trying to find a pick. Missing the shots. Finally getting the necessary pick in order to be able to stall out that push. But that is Anarchy Stars at 14 remaining. A very good push.
And that might have been a nail in the coffin right there, but still, plenty of time to work with for your CCA Practice Squad. Unfortunately, taking the Rainmaker right does not allow them to really get much further there. Now Rainmaker in a little bit of a precarious situation. Actually will, I think, benefit CCA Practice Squad a little bit here. They will get the pop guaranteed just because of the positioning of it, but they haven't yet been able to get through this elbow, really allowing the 10 Umbrella to kind of be that protective shield. You do see one player go down, though, already early off. Bazooka now being invested as well, but will there be a golden opportunity for CCA Practice Squad to move forward? Only time will tell, but the picks are going into the favor of CCA Practice Squad as Mizuki got a 3K in the back, and I believe that's a full team wipe for them.
At least a delayed one. Rent-A-Call looking towards that right side as the members of CCA are going to be coming out of their spawn, so they know where to be looking. We do see Andrew going in, getting one, denying Anarchy Stars another push. 2 members down on the side of Anarchy Stars. Make that 3. The Tetris jumping out. It's their time to grab, evaluate, get that sweet paint down there, particularly from your very competent edit. As these strikes do come out, giving them enough forward room to work. The Tetris running for the rain, going to miss that. Bazooka coming out for the 10, as we do see Rare going in, trying to squeak up, but it does manage to pull the lead! Oh my gosh, can they get the KO here? They
wow.
can!
Oh my goodness. CCA Practice Squad, despite already being 2 down in the set, said, you know what? We're here to fight, we're here to stay, and in a quite another bizarre game there. I mean, we saw a close one in game 2, but right from under the noses of Anarchy Stars gets one on the board. CCA Practice Squad, really nicely done there. You do see, I love that little emote there from the 10 Umbrella, just like playing the umbrella like a guitar there. And yes, really nicely done from CCA Practice Squad. Just, like I mentioned, gotta just steal that one from all of our expectations. At least took me by complete surprise there, Skep.
Yeah, it did. It did for me as well. Man, that's genuinely so flooring. A total never back down, never what. We're going for the KO. We may have lost the set, but we're taking the game. And now they have tomorrow to look forward to, feeling a little feisty, a little bit of fire in their chest, you know?
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. And that will do it for the rounds that we are streaming here. Let's take a look at Low Ink, the final placements, or at least the matches that have already finished, like that one, at us. And looking at Group A, yet again, remaining undefeated at the top is Norwegian Wobber Academies, completing it 6-0, completing the entirety of Low Ink groups there, sitting up there as well in Alpha Bracket, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Idiots in Chat, Pringle Cat, who we just saw earlier, Clown Ensemble, Star Guardians of Chaos, Putrid Tone, and I believe Octo Express as well as your final teams making it to Alpha Bracket. Taking a look at the other side, let's see if there's
Assuming
any.
no one drops.
Yep, so assuming no one drops, of course. Sea Dragons, another famous team there. Roulette pretty much guaranteed despite not playing their final set yet. Anarchy Stars up there with 5-1. And the other teams, Cold Cure, Fracture, Stars Impact, and Rabbit Hole there to boot as well. So, I mean, if those sets play out to be expected, those will be your teams making it to Alpha Bracket. And I'm now noticing on the side of Group B, there's a team called Awesome Sauce that dropped, and I'm sad about that fact.
It's not very awesome sauce to drop.
No. Don't do that. Don't drop if you're in Alpha Bracket. No, we want to see you. We want to see you play.
Oh, well, they, you know, they could have ended up either way. Maybe something happened. You never know.
Of course.
Maybe someone stubbed their toe.
Like you mentioned, going back to that kind of thing that you said earlier, sometimes you just stub your toe and it's over.
Yeah, and you're just like, you know what? We're not going to put ourselves through this today. Bye. You know? It's
sure,
just
for
as
sure.
powerful as recognizing when you're on the up. Well, Rocket,
Mhm.
this was fun.
It was. And that will do it for day 1 at for us here at IPL, but of course, day 2, the top of the top from this low ink will compete, but before we go, obviously, Skep, where can the people find you?
More importantly, I want to thank everybody who came out to play. The 300 something odd people who show up every month to play low ink and to show their love of Splatoon. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our TOs, Inky, our soldiers who make this happen, to where we can present this tournament to the players, and to you wonderful idiots in chat. For me, you can find me in Sendo Help Desk is my default answer now, and you can also find me occasionally making noise on Blue Sky. What about you, Rocket?
You can also find me occasionally making noise on Blue Sky at Rocket1. That's really about the only spot you'll find me. You'll also find me rambling occasionally in like these type of tournaments. Not consistent in terms of which tournaments. So I mean, hey, pop in and you might see me, you might see somebody else, but hey, you always watch and support Splatoon tournaments wherever that may be. But also shout out, like you mentioned, our TOs, our wonderful streamer, Inkfair, as always. But with that being said, I think that'll be it for us at IPL, yeah?
Yeah. All y'all have a wonderful day. Keep a good grip on your controllers and stay fresh.